check. Straight to overcome a 3-goal deficit in the fourth quarter to finish off the Rock. And they did it the old-fashioned way, a total team effort. Tonight, a chance to tie for first place of the Eastern Division, but the Philadelphia Wings are circling real close and playing quite well, too. All the better for a Friday night encounter in Buffalo. From the First Niagara Center in downtown Buffalo, welcome to the Bandits pregame show, and good evening, lacrosse fans in Western New York and down the line and on the Lacrosse Network. This is John Gertler, ready to bring you the play-by-play of tonight's game with the Buffalo Bandits meeting the Philadelphia Wings. Bandits played a strong game last night in Toronto, which included 4 defensive players blotting the score sheet. Billy D. Smith scored a beauty. Jimmy Purvis deked his way in right on front of Nick Rose. Scott Self with his trusty shot finding Twine, and Jay Thornburg, who had 2 goals. He scooped up a game-high 17 loose balls, and more importantly, his best face-off performance, winning 25 of 31 face-offs, going for 81%, an all-time high for Jay Thornburg, and a player that plays an important part of this new Bandit attack, and on a 2-game winning streak and ready to meet these Philadelphia Wings. Scoring last night, it was through the score sheet in an exciting game where John Tavares made his return after 3 games on injured reserve, nursing a calf injury. He quietly scored 3 goals and 3 assists. Sean Williams played an exceptional game. Anthony Cosmo saw the ball like a beach ball, and the defense continued their practice of the style of game that they employed a couple of weeks ago. My broadcast partner, Randy Mearns, joining us here in the pregame show, the head coach of the Canisius College Griffs. I would imagine fresh from a scrimmage today, Randy, or off on the field in the comforts of the inside game today.
Yeah, there's always something to be said for the inside game. I tell you, John, we were out in the field. It's about 32 degrees, but there's no snow. It was chilly, but we were up there running up and down the field at Dembski, which was great. But I got to comment again, having the opportunity to watch the replay yesterday of the Bandits up in Toronto. Again, the defense that they employed in Rochester the week before, week and a half, they employed that again against the Toronto Rock, playing that house-style defense. They've kind of gotten rid of the trap zone where you got to slide a guy all the way down and try to rotate in, and I think it just benefits Anthony Cosmo because now he can see the ball, and as he commented in the paper 2 weeks ago, is he's not really that goalie that goes side to side and post to post. He's a guy that's big. He's got that range. He can get out and see the ball. He's going to make those stops. He did it last night in Toronto. Awesome.
What happens, Randy, as a former player, when the defense is like that, where you're doing a lot of collapsing, you with the style of play that you had as a forward, but also defensive responsibilities, you have to communicate more and open those lanes up, or working as a team when you talk about this collapse?
Well, I think it's when you're playing the house style defense, which basically means on the sides, on the side boards, you basically play an up and down system. A lot of communication. Are you going to switch, or are you going to stay on your man? The trap defense that the Bandits have employed over the last year and a half, 2 years, 3 years is very good. It puts teams at pressure, and if you can read it, you can beat that pressure. And it's more of a reaction, proactive style defense where you're going to force something and then try to rotate and try to beat the ball movement, where now this defense is, we're going to stay at home. And as opposed to using all that athleticism and energy, it's more the mind, the mental, and playing angles and communicating and talking. And if you can do that successfully, the shots are going to come from far outside, and that helps out Anthony Cosmo because he can get out, see the shot, see his angles, and make the save, as opposed to trying to go from post to back to post, and then playing one-on-ones with a guy that's standing in front of the net. I think it's a smart move. I was also thinking this, John, as the Bandits continue to move forward, now they got 2 different defenses that they can play. I think it's a good thing. What's Buffalo going to play tonight? They're going to play that zone trap because, as teams do, they're going to prepare for what kind of defense and offense their opponents are going to do. You got the Philadelphia Wings. Well, what's Buffalo going to do? They're going to try to trap us, or are they going to play the house defense? And I think it's real nice that they can rotate back and forth if they so choose.
Can they audible that right during the game?
Oh, yeah, most definitely, because they can sit there and say, hey, guys, whatever the call is, hey, we're going to go trap this next time, because on the bench, you got that D door, so they can have that communication and then filter that to the transition guys that are getting back on D. Hey, we're going to be in the trap zone, or we're going to be in our house defense, and that's something that you can communicate. And these guys are skilled enough, they're experienced enough where, you know, that stuff happens tic-tac-toe. And I think that that's an advantage for the Bandits, because they can employ two different defensive strategies depending upon when they want to.
So for the listeners that are coming to the game and will be watching tonight, or for the example of watching on television on our coverage of the NLL Lacrosse Network, the Bandit players from the defensive side are not coming out anymore. They're not going to challenge the player as they generally do when they go up and challenge at the line, or force the player to the inside or outside.
Well, yeah, you know, with the trap defense, it's really kind of forcing a guy about 30 feet, 35, 40 feet from the net, and trying to send that guy down that wing, down the boards. And in box lacrosse, a lot of guys aren't ambidextrous. You're either a righty or you're a lefty, like in hockey. So now all of a sudden you get a guy kind of crossed up, and then he's got to panic and try to make a read to filter it out. But with the advent of all this video, and all these teams got video and send all this stuff, you can really start to break that down. The last time Toronto had played Buffalo, the last time Rochester had played Buffalo, they were able to beat that trap just because they can already move the ball, know where the next pass is. Okay. And if Buffalo can't rotate into it fast enough, you're going to get good looks. Where now it's more of a communication, keep everybody at the outside, make easy switches, play angles, help if you have to. And then for Anthony Cosmo, he knows the ball's not going to go from low to high, across, and then back and high. Now it's going to be on one side, or it's going to be on the other side. So he can now adjust his position going across the net, saying, I got the good angle, I got the good angle, I got the good angle, as opposed to, oh, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. And he was just pretty scrambly. And kudos to himself, because he said that. He's like, I'm not a great post-to-post kind of guy. I'm a more, hey, let me see the ball, let me get set, I'll make the save for you, Coach Kilgore. Coach Kilgore, kind of employed that system, and, last two games, he's making the saves, Johnny.
Cosmo making 34 saves last night in the Bandits' victory over the Toronto Rock. This is the pregame show this evening here from downtown Buffalo. Fans filing through the portals and getting ready for a Friday night classic with the Bandits and Wings. Taking a look at the overall standings coming into this evening's game. The Toronto Rock with their 6-3 record. The Buffalo Bandits 5-3, and an opportunity with a victory tonight to tie the Rock for first place and also win the season series. This is the last regular season game between these two clubs, and if Buffalo puts a win in, they get that tiebreaker moving into the playoffs. Rochester 3-5. Western Division is an entirely different story. Calgary and Washington 5-4, Edmonton 4-5, Minnesota 3-5, and Colorado at 2-5. Anything could happen here in the second half of the season in the Western Division. But the focus tonight here in Buffalo with the Bandits and Wings, for the fact that the Bandits have to continue playing that style of game. And Randy, as I opened tonight's pregame show, the Bandits won the game last night the old-fashioned way. They did it as a team. And I mentioned about the 4 defensive players scoring goals. Jay Thornburg, exceptional on his face-off draws and loose balls. And the team combining together to say, okay, in years past, particularly in Toronto, the nightmares that they've had there, and Toronto taking a 3-goal, 4-goal lead last night, and the Bandits just sucked it up and came back and did their own 5-goal run and outscored Toronto 7-2 in the fourth quarter to win the game. Yeah, which was huge, and in reading some of the comments in the Buffalo News by Johnny Tavares again, he's at that point where, he'd rather score 20 goals and win than, hey, everybody look at me and hey, rely on me and I'll score 40, but how's that going to kind of work out? And I think that's, again, even continuing the more maturity of this young team, which is a new team. Now all of a sudden they're 8 games in. They're kind of feeling it. I mean, how different is it after a couple of weeks? Because when they went on the lost skid, all of a sudden it was like, what's going on here? Like, wow, like this Bandit team's not very good. And all of a sudden they changed a few things up, trying to fine tune, and there it is. And they got to rely on everybody. They got to rely on those D guys, the transition of given opportunities. They all have good sticks. They all can get those opportunities to score. You got to make them count when you do. It was great having Johnny Tavares back in, like you said, a quiet 3-3. Yeah.
And you're like, wow, he had 6 points, but like, how did that happen? Shawnee Williams again on that left side, which is good with Cotter, and you got to rely on that whole team atmosphere. And something that was great is I think it just came to be outwilled or outwanted Toronto. I mean, fourth quarter run where Buffalo was down and they came back and they took that game. They just wanted it more at the ACC last night. And that's kudos to the never die, kind of attitude of this Buffalo Bandit, squad. So now they got to, they're coming right back, less than 24 hours. They got to face this very physical, very big, very talented Philadelphia Wings team led by Kevin Crowley, the master.
Over to the Philadelphia Wings side of things. Here's a club that was outscored 36-18 prior to their 2-victory weekend of past. One over Rochester after they were down 4-0. They came back to beat the Hawks. And then the very next afternoon, they faced the Colorado Mammoth in Philadelphia, defeated them. And an opportunity to see players on that roster to come to the forefront. Kevin Crowley. Also, Paul Rabel had a pretty good game in Rochester, and the list goes on with the Philadelphia Wings, what they bring to the floor and what they will be bringing tonight here in Buffalo.
Yeah, they're very athletic. Again, Buffalo's had the experience to play them twice already. Again, this is a big game because this allows at the end of the year on how it all mixes out because of the parity in the National Lacrosse League. This is a tie-break game. You want to win this game. You got to put it all on the line. Now, when you look at the Philadelphia Wings, they're heavy left, they're heavy right, they're big. You look at the left-hand side. Former Buffalo Bandit, Kevin Buchanan's having a great year for the Philadelphia Wings. He can turn on a dime. He can find spots. He can create his own shot. Kevin Ross is having a phenomenal year being traded from Minnesota to Philadelphia. He's one of those front door guys for the Philadelphia Wings, getting his takes, and a guy that just does all the dirty work and always finds himself 5, 6, 7 points on the score sheet. Kevin Crowley on the other side, Paul Rabel, probably a guy that is a little bit more of the leader guy. Is two of them is going to be Jordan Hall, who got traded from Rochester, a two-way midfielder, and then the other righty that works along with Kevin Crowley is Drew Westervelt, 6'5". I mean, you got guys 6'5", 6'6", 6'4" on that right-hand side. These guys are good. They got amazing sticks, and they can get to the net. And Buffalo's got to try to keep these guys to the outside. This is where I think that this house defense will be good, because you don't want to let these big sticks up inside, because they can make Anthony Cosmo move, and they can reach and get around just because of their size and their ability. So it's going to be a tough matchup for the Buffalo Bandits.
Coach's Corner is next with head coach Darius Kilgore. The pregame show continues tonight from Buffalo. This is Bandits Lacrosse. Regular basis. Yeah, employ on a regular basis. Yeah, time to look at last night's game, but obviously a template that you want to employ on a regular basis. '48th regular season meeting between the Bandits and the Wings. Buffalo leads this series 24-23. For back-to-back games for Buffalo, historically, they have a 17-16 record. Time now for Coach's Corner with Bandits head coach Darius Kilgore. Coach, you got to feel good about last night's performance and reliving the moments and hopeful that this team will play the same style throughout the second half of this regular season campaign.
Yeah, we showed a lot of composure after we did have a very good third period, but fourth period really worked out for us. We still got to get the back door figured out. 13 goals is too much, puts too much pressure on our offense. Obviously the defense stepped up in the fourth quarter, and they also scored some goals, which was huge. So overall, great to get a win, but we still got some things to work out.
Game plan that you're employing on defense, does it allow the players to be a part of the offensive rush or give them an opportunity if they have an open lane to shoot that ball like they did last night?
They've always had the green light to do those kind of things, but I think without the heavy pressure, I think they're a little bit fresher and they look to do it a little bit more. And now it's just about making sure that's a really good opportunity, not just an opportunity. Otherwise, let's get off, let the offense get out there. The offense has been doing a good job this year, so I think they're a little bit fresher, and I think it is helping on the transition a little bit.
When you make changes like you did last night at certain times when you were doing hand signals or waving over to the players, give the listeners an idea when you want to make adjustments. How do you communicate that to the masses of players?
Usually you try and wait for a timeout so you can get all the players at once. Otherwise, if you tell 3 guys here, 2 guys there, you're always going to miss one, and then he's not on the same page as everybody else. So we try and do everything, all the adjustments either at halftime or in between periods or during a timeout. But sometimes there's something going on that has to be addressed right then, and we just do our best to communicate it to everybody at once.
Let's return to the fourth quarter. Give me an idea what you were thinking behind the bench with the style of play that you were employing, and things seemed to be clicking at both ends of the field.
After the third, it was like, oh my, what's going to happen now? But the boys really dug deep and they pulled it out, tied it up real quick. So it got us right back in it, and the boys showed a lot of confidence in each other and themselves. And that's what we've been asking them to do, and I thought they did a great job last night in the fourth quarter.
Is that the character that you're looking for?
Yeah. I think every team's looking for that kind of character. When you can bounce back during a game when you're not playing your best. We had a pretty good first half, not great, but pretty good. And obviously the third quarter, the wheels fell off for a little while, and then in the fourth quarter, everything just turned right back around, and sort of seemed like Toronto was the team without any wheels. So it was really good to see.
Why do you think that happens in certain instances of this game where with the teams going on runs that they do, what happens?
You know what? A lot of it has to do with the shots, how well teams are shooting. There's times where you get tremendous opportunities and you get nothing for it, and there's times where you only get 6 shots in a quarter and you score 3 of them. That's happened to us a couple of times in the last couple of games where we outshot teams by 10, 12 goals or 10, 12 shots in a quarter, and we come out either down or tied up with them. So I think it comes down to how well the team shoots it when they get the opportunities.
The other parts of the game, impressive last night, particularly with the face-offs. Those are ever so important. Jay Thornburg is doing a great job in the loose ball factor as well.
Jay's been terrific all year long, and last night especially, he chipped in with 2 goals. I think he got an assist too, and just absolutely dominated with the face-offs. So absolutely great job by Jay, and he got one of the game balls after the game. He really stood out in everybody's mind.
Right back at it tonight against Philadelphia, a team that's entirely different. What are you employing tonight to hold off this big offensive attack?
We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pack it in, give up shots from the outside, let Cosmo see the ball, and count on him to make the saves. And offensively, we want to try and get them stretched out a little bit and try and hit the cutting lanes and the passing lanes. They're very good one-on-one defensive-wise. They're big, they're strong, they're athletic. So we really got to use our pick-and-roll game. We got to rely on each other tonight.
So we had mentioned this is a big weekend, not only last night but tonight. Divisional games. This is an opportunity again to capture a tie for first place, but more importantly, the tie breakers when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, the East is so close right now. Every game counts so much, and it was great to get the win last night, but that was last night, and now we're focused on Philadelphia. And this game's even bigger than the one last night. So, as the season goes along, each game gets a little bit more important, and right now this is the most important game of our season.
Setting the stage for tonight's game, changes in any rosters?
We're going to get Mike Hominick back in there. I think Carter Bender might get a look. I'm not sure if JT's ready to go. I know he's still a little bit sore from last night. Don't want to push him too hard. And out the back door, we're going to get John Harrison back in, and Mike will be out.
Now, what did you think of JT's game last night?
Thought he was really good. You know, I know coming off a long layoff like he had, it's sort of hard to be in game shape coming back like that, and to play 2 games in 2 nights is really tough. So, you know, I think we'll probably give him the game off tonight, and hopefully he's 100% for the rest of the season. But he looked really strong, shot the ball really well, and he's just a terrific leader.
Strike the match to the fuse. What will you tell the players tonight before the formal introductions?
There's not much to say. Everybody knows what's at stake. Everybody knows this is one of our biggest rivals. You know, they beat us once, and it was a close game here, so we know we're up against a good team. So, you know, I don't think it's going to take a whole lot of motivation. Just mention some of the things we just talked about, and I think that'll be enough.
Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
Head coach Darius Kilgore tonight before the formal warm-ups at First Niagara. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening on our pregame show. Up next will be our Reebok player profile. It is the face-off expert and one of the top goal scorers last night in the Bandits win over Toronto, Jay Thornburg. First this time out. This is Bandits Lacrosse. Show tonight from the First Niagara with the Bandits playing the Wings. Jay Thornburg is our Reebok player profile tonight at the pregame show. Jay, what is your secret so far on these draws? About 16 minutes away from the opening face-off of tonight's game with the Buffalo Bandits and Philadelphia Wings. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you on our pregame show, and it's a Reebok player profile tonight. Jay Thornburg, who is from Whitby, Ontario, and the face-off expert now leading the top 3 in the National Lacrosse League at face-offs. The other 2, well, the Snyder brothers, one in Washington and the other in Calgary. They are the top ones, but Jay Thornburg is right there with him. He scored 2 goals last night. He had 17 loose balls as well. And Jay is our Reebok player profile, and right to the point. Jay, how do you do it with those face-offs?
Great ball team. I mean, a good ball team, take as many as I can, helps me get the timing down. But other than that, it's, you know, a good ball team.
Well, you're trailing the Snyder brothers right now, respectively, from Washington and Calgary. But you've got to have some sort of style that's kind of unique when you go to that face-off circle.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the years in the league, I've kind of watched different guys and the way their style is, what kind of works, and trying different new things. And, you know, just found my own kind of way of doing it, you know, and, you know, Snyder brothers have their way of doing it. You know, you mimic them because they're the top 2 guys, and just do the same thing. If it's not working, switch it up. Try something different.
Give the listeners an idea what happens when you do go to center after a goal is scored or the opening draws for the quarters. Give us an idea when you go to that circle, what's going through your mind, what's the referee saying, is the opponent saying anything to you, and do you have anything that you're going to go for at a particular moment?
I normally get to this face-off circle to kind of look at your opponent, see kind of how he's standing, kind of try to read his body, see if you can kind of, there's certain things that tip you off that what they're going to do, whether they jump your hands or go for the ball, things like that. And then other than that, just getting my stance, kind of make the same kind of motions that I always do just to make everything comfortable. And then once you hit down set, you don't really hear the whistle, you just kind of go off the timing and, you know, hope the ball's in the back of your stick.
Is there any design that you have in your stick?
It's pinched a little bit. It's legal, but it's pinched a little bit so the ball, it's, you know, it's thinner, so you can get over the ball and the ball stays in the back of it, and you give a little pop when it comes out. But yeah, no real design other than the fact that it is pinched a little bit.
What about the wrist action? Is it wrist in turn, or is it more brawn, meaning more power?
A little bit of both. When you get there, you try to be as quick as you can, get the ball in and get the ball, get it out. But if you meet the guy at the same time, you need some brawn, you need to wiggle it out. It's a lot of driving your backhand forward, and then you can see guys kind of start to spin and trying to drive the small part of their stick underneath the big fat part of the other guy's stick and just keep driving.
Is there a particular direction you want that ball to go?
Yeah, to our players. To our players, and it just, before the face-off goes, kind of look around, see where everybody is at, to kind of see where I want to put it, and, if I can put it in that area. If not, just hope our guys are close.
Looks like there's a little leverage going on between you and the opponent, almost as a mini scrum in rugby, where you both pressure each other against your weight and then have more in your muscle prowess with your arms.
Oh yeah, it's a little wrestling match every face-off. As long as if the ball doesn't come out quickly, it's a little wrestling match. You're trying to get in there. You're just trying to, as he starts to spin, you just try to get underneath and spin quicker so you can get right underneath his stick and then just flip the ball out.
As we found last night, the draw is ever so important, particularly in the fourth quarter. The way Toronto was playing, and then after those goals being scored, but more importantly, when the Bandits scored the goals in the fourth quarter, the draw was so important.
Oh yeah, it's always important. Toronto doesn't have the ball in their stick, not very likely they're going to score, right? So, as long as we can keep that momentum, keep the ball in our stick, it's frustrating for them, and it is good for us to have the, Tavares and Miles and, all our offensive weapons have the ball in their stick. It's better than letting Doyle and Billings and all those guys have the ball.
Is there a particular player in the league that you have trouble with when you go against in a draw? Other than Snyder?
Other than the Snyders, it's mainly the Snyder brothers. You go against them, and you think you have them, and all of a sudden they pull their stick out and they have the ball. So it's difficult, and you go against them, you kind of try to think of new ways to try and go at them, because I'm sure they've seen it all. If one thing's not working, you got to switch it up, because obviously you're just going to get dusted. Is
there a little psyche going on in there at all with any verbal barbs back and forth? I know one of the Snyder brothers very popular in doing a lot of yapping, but do you do the same, or do you find opponents try to get you off your game?
You know what? Not a lot of guys yap at the face-off circle. The more of it is, if some guy kind of thinks the ref's letting something go, he might yap a little bit at the ref, being like, watch him do this, watch him do that. But other than that, there's no real, chirping as they call it, or any, war of the words when you're at the face-off circle. Everybody just kind of wants to get in there and get it out.
How do you practice your draws?
I practice my draw. We do scrimmages at practice. Take them against Selfer, take them against other guys, and just keep practicing. Kind of work on the whistle. Darius will kind of down set, hold the whistle a little bit, so you're actually waiting for the whistle instead of just trying to time it every time. But just practice them by taking them against other people.
And how are you refining this particular art that you've invested a lot of time in, and right now getting a lot of success?
I take a lot of pride in it, so I kind of go home and think about it, kind of watch some tape, see what guys are doing, see what other guys are doing to go against those guys and what's working for them, to kind of stop, guys like Snyder and things like that, McIntosh, and, Reynolds, he's a great draw guy. So, just watching film, find out what guys are doing, and then, try and find their tell when you're out there. It's kind of a little chess match. So if you can see, kind of tell that their hands are off the ball, they might be doing a certain move, and then you can kind of counteract that.
There are some players on rosters that are fogos, face off and get off. However, you're bringing more talent to the field by not only doing the face-off chores, but you're also one of the leaders in the league with loose balls. So, and then last night with your offensive prowess as well, everything's starting to mix.
Yeah, it's great for me. It's a lot of fun when I can score a couple goals. But face-off guys, I think we get a little bit extra padded in the stats. Loose balls, we get a loose ball for every face-off win, kind of that we pick up. So that definitely helps our loose ball stat, but at least I think that's how they do it. But I don't think this league has any room for those so-called fogos anymore. You have to have something else, or else there's no time. There's no wasted space on the bench.
To an open look at the team right now at the 8-game mark of the season, halfway point, what do you think so far of this Buffalo Bandits club?
I think we've shown a lot of character, a lot of one-goal games that we've won, a lot of come-from-behind victories, fourth quarter, pull it out. Every team has lapses. There's no perfect game. You're going to let them score. There's going to be a, game of runs. But, a lot of character, a lot of heart, and we're coming together, really closely off the floor, which is great to see.
Jay Thornburg, part of our Reebok player profile tonight here at First Niagara Center with the Buffalo Bandits and Philadelphia Wings. We're just about 6 minutes away from the opening draw. That's going to do it for our pregame show tonight. The game is next. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
And welcome back to Bandits.
Just do a minute, Joe, or 30 seconds, whatever you have. What is it, a minute or 30? I think it might be a little early.
The National Cross League's Philadelphia Wings.
Check, check, check.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats to respect the singing of O Canada and the Star Spangled Banner being formed tonight by the Buffalo Bandits' own Kevin Kennedy.
Good evening, lacrosse fans. Welcome to our game tonight. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening with the Buffalo Bandits and Philadelphia Wings. Let's get right to it with the singing of the Canadian and U.S. national anthems.
In all thy sons command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Kevin Kennedy, Bandit Land is loving it. And good evening once again, lacrosse fans in Western New York and down the line on the Lacrosse Network. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. A Friday night classic with the Buffalo Bandits and Philadelphia Wings. The 48th all-time meeting between these two clubs way, way, way back when. A great rivalry and a great way to stage a Friday night in downtown Buffalo with the Bandits and Wings. Bandits coming off a big victory last night over the Toronto Rock in Toronto. And the Philadelphia Wings, big 2 wins last week in Rochester and at home against Colorado. So Randy Mearns, this should be a great matchup tonight between these two clubs. It's a battle not only for the tiebreaker leading into the playoffs for the regular season campaign, but also for the Bandits, a win tonight would put them a tie in first place.
Yeah, they'll be tied with Toronto for sure, John. So, you know, again, this game is very, very important for the Buffalo Bandits. Now, both teams, 2 wins in their last 2 outings. Both teams are kind of feeling a little bit hot. They had a little bit of a downslide, a little bit of a slump midway through this first half of the season. But I think both teams, as you look at Philadelphia, they've gone through that reshuffling of the deck, as you will say, as Buffalo has. So I think that they're really all starting to come into each other, knowing how to play, chemistry. And I think there's going to be a huge, huge matchup as these teams are now kind of clicking, John.
Anthony Cosmo gets the start for Buffalo. 7.48 save percentage. Brandon Miller, 7.81 save percentage. The Bandits will be moving right to left here in the first quarter of play, wearing their home black uniforms, dotted in gray and draped in orange. Philadelphia with their white jerseys and black pants. And we're underway with the Bandits controlling the ball down into the Philadelphia zone. Mike Hominick in the lineup tonight. We'll have the changes for you in just a couple of moments. Hominick, one of them, back in the lineup from last night. And he couldn't get the play underway from the 30-second shot clock. So here comes Philadelphia, coached by Johnny Meridian. Over the line they come, and it's Kevin Buchanan, who's having a great season. Got the shot away, and Cosmo saw that ball. And talk a little bit more about the Bandits' defense, allowing what they call the house defense from the top of the slot. Bandits setting up the stage now as John Tavares in the lineup. During the pregame show, head coach Darius Kilgore thought maybe he would give John the night off, but number 11 wants to play. 3 goals and 3 assists last night on his return from the calf injury. Here are the Bandits over the shoulder drive, the crossbar, and a rebound is picked back up.
Yeah, and that should go back.
How about that by Matt Giles?
And that should go back to Buffalo. Man, Matty Giles gets one, and then Aaron Wilson collects the garbage. But Brandon Miller throws up the big right shoulder. Ball goes up into the stands. Buffalo regain possession.
No score here in the opening moments of this game in downtown Buffalo with the Bandits and wings. John Tavares from the right point, scooting in. Flush to the outside. Nice pass over to the side there to Dane Smith, deking his way. Smith with a shot. It hit the side of Brandon Miller. Rebound is picked up by Philadelphia. Pressure on by Chad Culp. Philadelphia getting the ball out in the 8-second time zone. And it's cleared back out to midfield. Shift change into effect for Philadelphia. One shot on, and that was by Kevin Buchanan. Here is a far pass over to the right side, and Lane right on. And Cosmo got that one wrapped up into his right pad. And he'll be helped by Jimmy Purvis, who scored last night in the Bandits' win over Toronto. Purvis brings it to midfield. Left wing passes it goes now. And over to the right side to Mike Hominick. Hominick goes to the far side. And there's a give and go. Williams, he scores!
Great cut by Sean Williams. A big mix-up on the Philadelphia wing defense. As the ball was on the left-hand side running a pick and roll, Sean Williams just slip picks. Nobody on him, gives a couple of hedge fakes, goes far side on Miller. Sean Williams picking up right where he left off from last night. And the Bandits have a 1-0 lead. Again, a great slip pick. He came in to set this pick. He faked it, slipped to the crease. 2 guys went with the on-ball man. Sean left all alone. And you can't let a guy that caliber all alone. He's going to bury more times than not.
11th goal of the season for number 51, Sean Williams. 1-0 Buffalo. And Williams, going to look here on the number of first goals that he has got so far this year for the Buffalo Bandits. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 first goals for the Bandits, and they are very important between these two clubs. And certainly for the Bandits of finding Twine for the first time and holding that lead. 1-0 Buffalo. It's Sean Williams scoring his 11th. A beauty right in front of Brandon Miller. Bandits with the ball down to the Philadelphia zone. John Tavares from the right side. Trying to get a pass coming right in on Miller. And Miller comes up with the ball and will clear it down the left wing lane. And here come the Wings, led by their captain, Brody Merrill. Or check that. Joel White bringing the ball up. Cleared back over to Kevin Crowley down into the Bandit zone. Working it now from the far side is Philadelphia's Jordan Hall. Works the ball, but pressured by Buffalo's defense. The rebound jumps in front of Cosmo, and he gets it in the webbing of his stick. And down the right wing lane comes Derek Suddens for the Bandits, approaching the Philadelphia line. Suddens now flips it back, and in over the line comes Sean Williams. Williams eyeing up the situation from the right point. Works it now to the far side to an on-running Dane Smith. Smith looking for a lane. Moving his body closer to Brandon Miller. Elects to go back to the outside and now to the right wing side over to Mike Hominick. Here's Hominick with a shot. Back behind the net. Give and go. Saved by Miller. Also helping there by Steve Holmes on defense.
Yeah, and I think they're going to call that a handball with Steve Holmes, as Dane Smith had a good opportunity on the far side. I don't even think that one got to Miller. I think actually Sean Holmes actually threw up the left pad, left glove, went off his hand. Illegal procedure, Buffalo ball.
I'll correct myself. It was Michael Manley. Rebound comes out in front. There's a shot right on, but the goal has been waved off.
Oh, the two veterans run another slip pick. Sean Williams comes to Tavares, goes inside. They say Williams pushed off a little bit too much. It's not going to count.
Paul Rabel brings the wings in over the line, tips it back over to the far side of Drew Westervelt. Now to the top of the slot to Kevin Crowley. Now back over to Paul Rabel from the near side. Keeps out and works it back over to Kevin Ross. Ross throwing it back to the far side. There's a shot straight on and a beautiful save by Anthony Cosmo. 1-0 Buffalo. Cosmo with an outlet pass right to the line. It's picked up by defenseman Steve Priolo as he powers his big frame down into the Philadelphia zone. Sean Williams scoring for the Bandits. Here is Priolo with a shot, and Miller coming up with a save, and we're going to have a penalty, and it's going to go against Philadelphia. One of the defenders trying to hang on to that 6'5", 230-pound defenseman.
Yeah, Priolo's not asked very often to play on the offensive side of the ball. This time he actually got caught upfield. He said, well, I might as well play. And actually got up and over his guy looking for a feed. Nothing the defender could do other than hold him. He got right to the prime scoring area. Buffalo going to go on their first power play of the game.
Steve Holmes is the guilty one on the infraction for Philadelphia. Buffalo's power play, 18 for 43. Shot, score!
Yeah, cool hand Luke wasted no time. One pass, two pass. Nobody rotates to Luke Wiles, and he just buries a blitz past Brandon Miller for a power play marker for the Buffalo Bandits. As you see, gets down to the crease, a one-touch pass, and what a shot by Wiles, high to low to the short side. The rotation's not there in time, and that defender doesn't rotate into the shooting lane. He gives a little bit of space for Wiles, and he makes no mistake. 2-0 Buffalo lead.
8th goal of the season for cool hand Luke Wiles. I was just rattling off Buffalo's power play at 42%. They went 1 for 3 last night in Toronto, and they've got one here tonight, and a 2-0 lead. With 9 minutes and 44 seconds left to play into this first quarter. Kevin Crowley in over the line, tips it to the far side, stretching out as it's left into the far corner, and here comes Philadelphia working it from the top of the slot. Left over out of the side by Kevin Buchanan. Give and go shot, nobody there to make it, and it's picked up to the far side with 10 to shoot. Here's Kevin Crowley now from the left point, looking for an open lane from the slot area. Being hampered by Buffalo's defense, Crowley takes the shot, saved by Cosmo. And it's picked up by the Bandits and cleared back out to midfield. 2-0 Bandits.
Great Buffalo Bandit defense. So far, 6 minutes into this game, nothing in the prime scoring area for the Philadelphia Wings. Bad angle shots, or they're coming from 30 yards out. Anthony Cosmo is going to have a field day if the Wings can't get in front of the net.
Dane Smith digging down in the Philadelphia zone. Long shot. Brandon Miller with a fine save. Rebound picked up by Philadelphia, and they dash down the left wing lane. 2-0 Buffalo here in the first quarter of play. Paul Rabel in over the line. Dekes his way from the slot area, looking for an open lane. Forced all the way back to the right point. Far side pass to Drew Westervelt. Now works it back to Rabel. Far side pass. And it's tipped in over to Kevin Ross, being checked by Billy D. Smith. Ross now working the ball, taking the shot wide with 5 to shoot, and the rebound jumps back out to midfield, and a breakaway for Buffalo, and it's picked up by Jimmy Purvis. Here's Purvis digging his way. Purvis hangs on to the ball from the corner. Front door opens up quickly, and Buffalo's forwards run out, led by John Tavares, directing traffic from the right point. Here's Tavares now, double teamed on the play, forced back outside, goes to the far side to Aaron Wilson. Now it's tipped up into traffic, and the ball is picked up by the big Philadelphia defenders, and there's the rush right to the Buffalo line, and in over the line they go, shot straight on, and that's by Kyle Sweeney, one of the new players back into the Philadelphia fold. Philadelphia working the ball from the corner. Jordan Hall tipsing it back over to Ross. Now to the near side over to Kevin Crowley. 2-0 Buffalo with 7:38 remaining here in the first quarter of play. Crowley to the far side. Deking from the slot area. Philadelphia with the lane. Saved by Cosmo. Rebound picked up by Mark Steinhaus and tipped back over to his defense colleague, Glenn Bryan, and getting it back out to midfield, just to the left side of the bench, but picked up now by Bryan. He's checked down onto the turf. No call. Fans want it, but Mike Hominick controls it and works it with 10 to shoot. 2-0 Buffalo. Get over the line is Sean Williams with a drive, and Miller with the save. Outlets the ball down the right wing side, and Carl Hartzell will bring it back out for Philadelphia. In over the line comes Kevin Crowley. 14 goals on the season for Crowley. He's at the left point, now flushes himself to the right. Nice pass over to Kevin Buchanan. Top of the slot shot, blocked in front by Buffalo's defense. Jay Thornbert worked into the corner. Philadelphia deking out of the far corner, trying to shovel it in front with just 1 to shoot. They haven't got enough time to do it, and that will create a stoppage in play with 6 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter. 2-0 Buffalo. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Tonight's Twitter trivia question. Tweet your answer to NLL Bandits with the hashtag Bandits Trivia for your chance to win Buffalo Bandits is back. Fans, Clinton Auto Wrecking is a proud sponsor of the Buffalo Bandits, your best choice for used auto parts. For more information, visit ClintonAutoWrecking.com. Clinton Auto Wrecking, if we don't have it, we can't get it, and you don't need it.
Con los terroristas.
Bandits free mobile app is now available on iTunes and around the market. It's the best way to stay connected to your Buffalo Bandits around the clock and gives exclusive access to everything from up-to-the-minute player stats to game night promotions. You can download the Bandits mobile app today. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening here at First Niagara, where the Bandits have a 2-0 lead over the Wings. Joe Hanault, our producer. I would say that Scott Fleetwood is our statistician, but our buddy is not with us this evening. He's recovering from a procedure, so he's left us all alone here, and we're just fumbling around for numbers.
Scotty,
Thank God for a scoreboard.
Yeah, no kidding. Scotty, if you're at home listening in, I'm sure you are. I got no stats, Scotty. I'm looking up at the board. It's shots 8, Buffalo, shots Wings 8 as well. Even Steven there. But Philadelphia, all their shots are coming from way outside. Cosmo able to see everything throwing. Buffalo a little bit better at getting into that prime scoring area, hence they're up 2-0.
We're thinking about you, Scott Fleetwood, as the Wings come down into the zone. A shot right on, and a save by Cosmo. Rebound collected by Philadelphia. Kevin Crowley has got it just outside the Buffalo line at left. Crowley now looking for an open lane, deking. Flinging it over to the right wing side to Buchanan, now back to Crowley. Crowley looking at with 15 to shoot, plenty of time. Saved by Cosmo. Rebound picked up by Buffalo, and down the right wing lane. Derek Suttons is there. Tips it right back over to Glenn Bryan, who brings it back out in front. Right in front of the Philadelphia bench, and he takes a beating with a trio of Philadelphia Wings. Paul Rabel is in there. Ball squirts free. Now it's picked up by Philadelphia and rushed back out to midfield. 2-0 Buffalo. A high stick on one of the players. I believe it'll be Mike Hominick. A penalty coming up against the Bandits. So Brandon Miller runs to the bench. The sixth attacker is out. And the stage is set for the power play for Philadelphia. Top of the slot, Drew Westervelt works it. He's at the left point. Bouncing ball picked up by Buffalo, and a penalty coming up against the Bandits. I believe it will be Mike Hominick for a high stick call, or who will it be?
I think you're correct. Mike Hominick trying to strip Brody Merrill at the center line. Kind of got the stick up a little bit too high. I think that got sold a little bit. by Brody Merrill, the veteran. He kind of flipped his skid lid back. So Hominick going to serve 2 minutes, and the Philadelphia Wings going to go on their first power play of the evening.
When we come back, this time out, please, from Buffalo, where the Bandits lead it 2-0. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Moe's Restaurants. Eat at Moe's. Penalty to number 28, Mike Hollick. 2 minutes for slashing. Hollick, 2 minutes for slashing.
Right back to action down on the turf for Philadelphia's got the power play, their first of the night. Buffalo leads it 2-0. Jordan Hall works it now as it's to the right point. Crowley, give and go, shot, score! Philadelphia, tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, that's back and forth. You got 3 lefties and 2 righties. And the high man comes and seals. Jordan Hall throws the ball to Kevin Crowley, who one-touches it from the top to the left crease to Kevin Ross, who makes no mistake. Great hands by Ross. One of those power play guys that can bury from sharp angles, and he goes high to low before Cosmo can go post to post. And the Wings score their first goal of the evening on the power play. They're 1 for 1.
13th of the season for Kevin Ross. Very effective power play, 52%. There's a shot right on. Brandon Miller comes up with a save, and he makes a long outlet pass. Makes the connection, one-on-one shot, save by Anthony Cosmo.
Oh,
Brody
huge.
Merrill got that one.
Yeah, huge save by Cosmo. Great feed by Brandon Miller just through the outstretch of a Buffalo Bandit defender into Merrill all alone. He tries to go 5-hole. But Cosmo keeping the big twig in between the legs. Nothing doing, and we're still, the Bandits still have a 1-goal lead.
John Tavares with the ball down in the Philadelphia corner, tries to squeak free, does so, takes the shot, go! Hits the goal post, left side of Brandon Miller. Ball picked up by Philadelphia, and rushing out the lane is Kyle Sweeney. 2 new players joining the Philadelphia Wings mid-February. Kyle Sweeney, along with Mike McClellan. In over the line is Paul Rabel with a shot. Good save by Cosmo. Rebound picked up by Buffalo's defense. David Brock getting out of the line. Working out to midfield with a full head of steam. Approaching the Philadelphia line. Brock hanging on to the ball. Buffalo's front door opens up. Luke Wiles out there. Derek Suttons will clear the path now for Buffalo's offense. Wiles back over to Chad Culp. Culp from the right wing side, eyeing out the situation as Buffalo holds to a 2-1 lead. Shot wide by Luke Wiles. Rebound picked up by Philadelphia, and down the left wing lane comes Paul Rabel. Stopping at the Buffalo line from the left side. Rabel now scooting in closer, looks for a lane, goes to the far side. Jordan Hall tipping it back over to the right side. And Philadelphia goes with a shot straight on. Cosmo with the save, and the rebound comes back out with the outlet pass over to Steve Priolo. In over the line as Priolo hits it over to Mike Hominick. Hominick scoots back to the far Philadelphia corner. Reverses thrusters and scoots behind the Philadelphia net. Goes to the far side, pass over to Aaron Wilson. Wilson now with 10 to shoot. Works it into the corner. Over to Wiles. He gets out of the way of a checking wing. Here's Cope with a shot that goes wide. Rebound stretches over to Wiles. Here's Wiles with 1 to shoot, but that's blocked into traffic, and it'll be Philadelphia's ball out of their own zone. 2:08 left to play here in the first quarter. Bandits leading it 2-1. Sean Williams and Luke Wiles, the goal scorers for Buffalo. In over the line comes Philadelphia. It's Kevin Crowley. Deking his way closer. Good crushing Buffalo defense, forcing the ball out of the webbing of his stick. Crowley comes back with it, goes far side. In over the line comes Philadelphia. Works it out in front. Checking is Derek Suddens, and the loose ball picked up by the Bandits. And it'll be lugged out by Glenn Bryan. 2-1 Buffalo here in the first quarter of play. The whole house decked in orange in favor of the Bandits. Loving their team here in Buffalo.
Sean
Williams just hammered down on the turf by Brody Merrill. No call on the play. Now they get their sticks up together. There's John Tavares doing his job at forechecking. But the loose ball is picked up by Philadelphia's Steve Holmes, and he'll rush it in over the line. Tips it now to Brody Merrill with a shot. Kick save. Cosmo. Rebound Philadelphia from the far corner. Johnny Meridian changing things up here on the rush with under a minute to play into the first quarter. Buffalo leading it 2-1. Drew Westervelt with the ball, deking his way close into Cosmo. Hampered by Buffalo's defense, elects to go to the far side. Now it's give and go. Tried to set it up to Drew Westervelt, but couldn't do it. And here comes Buffalo back out to midfield, leading it with 36 seconds left to play into this first quarter, 2-1. Sean Williams and Luke Wiles, the goal scorers. There's a shot straight on by Jay Thornburg.
Everybody, let's go, Bandits.
Brandon Miller, an outlet pass. This one is intercepted by Mike Hominick. Cleared back over by David Brock. He's double teamed on the play, lost control of the ball. Backed up by Hominick doing some checking, forcing the play along the boards. And that stops things with 14.6 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the 8-second violation. Buffalo cannot get the ball over the center line. Philadelphia regains possession. The goalie's out, 6-on-5.
Perfect timing to do as such as Crowley goes to the far side of Buchanan. Give and go shot, save! Cosmo. 1 second left, goes to a yawning open net. But didn't get there in time. Good shot by Anthony Cosmo from his crease to the Philadelphia crease and in the twine, but the clock had expired. So, first quarter is history tonight. The Bandits lead it 2-1 over Philadelphia. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Shots on goal in the first quarter for the Wings, 15, for your Bandits, 11. Better than one more time, here are your Bandits.
Exciting game so far, 2-1 Buffalo after one. Randy, numbers on the first quarter, and then we'll quickly review the scratches tonight.
Yeah, shots on goal, 16-11 for the Philadelphia Wings in favor. Both teams have one penalty. Both teams have scored on the power play. We're 2-1 score for the Buffalo Bandits, and to the scratches, a couple replacements. Nick Cotter for the Buffalo Bandits is out. Played a good game yesterday. In his spot is Mikey Hominick. Mike McNamara has been scratched for tonight. They brought back in Johnny Harrison, and obviously John Tavares has decided to play, or the coaching staff has given him the good gracious to play. And Carter Bender, who was that guy that might get back in, is not in the lineup. And then for the Philadelphia Wings, Ethan Farrell, Brett Manny, and defenseman Jeff Reynolds not in the lineup tonight for the Wings.
Second quarter underway. Buffalo moving left to right. leading it 2-1. Sean Williams, Luke Wiles, the goal scorer. And for Philadelphia, Kevin Ross. Here comes Buffalo down into the Philadelphia zone. Right wing pass intended for Big Matt Giles. Couldn't get it. It bounces into the corner, and it's picked up by Philadelphia's Kyle Sweeney. He'll combine to get it back out to mid-turf. Carried out by Brody Merrill, who was in Toronto last night as a part of the National Lacrosse League's Google chat. And he'll leave it to the offensive forwards. Here's Buchanan with a shot. Hit the turf, saved by Cosmo. He took liberties on Buchanan, but still came up with his own rebound. Working it back to the outside. Buffalo leading it 2-1 here in the opening minutes of this second quarter. Kevin Ross works it from the right point. Tips it back over to Buchanan. Buchanan deking his way. Turning on a dime. There will be a penalty coming up against the Bandits. A lot of crushing going on in front of Anthony Cosmo. The extra attacker is out. Here's Rabel. Now works it back over to Buchanan. Far side to Rabel. To Jordan Hall. And that one goes off the side of Jay Thornburg.
They're going to call this one on Steve Priolo. It's going to go 2 minutes for an illegal cross-check, which was kind of weird. He got mixed up with Paul Rabel coming across, and I think he kind of more dragged him down. He got a stick up on his shoulder pad and then just kind of dragged him down as opposed to a cross-check. You know, if anything, it was probably a little bit of a hold. I don't know about that call, but nonetheless, Philadelphia going to go on their second power play of the evening, Johnny.
Yeah, they're working with Buchanan, works at the right point. Ross is down low to the near side. Buchanan now from the top of the slot takes his shot. Hit Cosmo, rebound, comes back outside. Picked up by Mark Stainhouse and then taken away by Philadelphia. And they work it right back down into the zone. Far side pass now over to Kevin Crowley. Crowley over the shoulder, feed to the near side, top of the slot to Hall. Hall working it back to the near side. Over to Buchanan, now to Hall. Hall, far side over in front. Tried to feed it over to Buchanan, but couldn't do it. Jordan Hall has got it. Shot from the top of the slot. Elect to go to the side. Here is a drive by Jordan Hall. Is saved by Cosmo.
Yeah, good rotation, good ball movement by the wings. And Hall is the recipient. He's the end of the rainbow, has a good lane to the net. But again, Anthony Cosmo seeing it and closing the legs.
There's a bouncing ball and a score. Shorthanded Aaron Wilson.
Yeah, and that's just a misstep by the wing defense. It was kind of an errant pass. And Wilson going hard to the loose ball. Sometimes the bounce has got to go your way, and he makes no mistake. Corrals the ball finally right in front of the net and just drops a high to low to the far side. On Miller, I don't think Miller was expecting that. And special teams win you games, and Buffalo's got their first short-handed marker of the evening.
14th goal of the season for Aaron Wilson. 3-1 Buffalo. 1 minute left in the penalty to Steve Priolo. So the bouncing ball comes down into the Buffalo zone. Jordan Hall from the slot area now to the far side. Buchanan back to Hall. Worked back over to Kevin Crowley. Now deep into the corner, back to Crowley with the shot. Bounces to the right side of Cosmo. Drew Westervelt goes back for it. Skids on the turf, regains composure. And with no time left on the shot clock, here comes Buffalo shorthanded. Loose ball picked up by Glenn Bryan, and he'll bring the Bandits just outside the Philadelphia line. 29 seconds left in the penalty to Steve Priolo. 3-1 Buffalo. Luke Wiles with the ball outside the line. Goes to the far side over to Matt Giles. Into the corners. It goes over to Aaron Wilson. Now Chad Culp working the ball. Feed pass out in front to Wiles. Couldn't make the connection, and the loose ball picked up by Wiles. Tipped back in front into traffic, and it's picked up by Philadelphia. 2 seconds left in the penalty to Priolo. 3-1 Buffalo. In over the line is Brody Merrill. Give and go shot wide by the wings.
Oh!
Priolo taking Merrill down onto the floor, and he is hammered. Now Sticks getting up with Kevin Crowley. As play continues down in the Philadelphia zone, but now we've got some pushing and shoving erupting to the right side of the net. Play continues. Ball is hit by the goalpost. I don't know why they're not stopping it. With one of the players down for a short period of time.
Well, I think they didn't stop the play because Brody Merrill was still kind of like looking to get up. It was a clean hit, all shoulder. Merrill did not see it coming. Priolo out of the box. He's 6'5", 230, and Merrill just got rocked. And then there was a lot of ruckus. Nobody wanted to fight. Maybe a fight. Crowley's all hanging out.
I thought Merrill was down for the count.
Yeah, there was still, the game was still going on.
Composure, so I guess he let the game continue on, and it did. It went down into the Philadelphia zone. There was a shot on in the save, and then it came back to the Buffalo zone. There was a shot on and hit the goal post, and somehow Merrill made it over to the bench. Still a lot of action going down on the turf right now with the Bandits controlling the ball down in the zone. We're going to have a penalty coming up against one of the groups, and we still have some discussions, heated face-to-face, face-mask-to-face mask conversations. And it's going to go against Philadelphia.
I think it's going to be an interference call. We're going to check the number here. It was off ball on the far side. I mean, a very physical game. It's going to go against Joel White. Syracuse Orange product, phenomenal athlete, can get the ball up and down the field. Real nice hands. He's going to serve too. And the Bandits going to go on their second power play. So far, they're perfect on all the special teams. One shorthanded goal, one power play.
Aaron Wilson working the ball for Buffalo to the near side. A give and go set up over to Chad Cope. Couldn't make the connection. He's checked into the far boards. And the loose ball is picked up by Philadelphia. Bandits lead it 3-1. 10 minutes left to play. Second quarter. Shorthanded. Here comes Philadelphia. Straight in on Cosmo. And it found Twine, but Drew Westervelt was inside the crease area, so it was waved off. Priolo brings the ball out to midfield, but the play is stopped with 9 minutes and 55 seconds left here in a very strange second quarter. 3-1 Buffalo tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
And the Buffalo Bandits scored 12 more goals tonight. Your ticket stub is worth 50% off your entree tomorrow at most restaurants at Moe's. Thanks for joining us for the Miller Lite Whiskey Party in the Cobblestone after every home game this season. Don't miss out on the opportunity to hang with your favorite Bandits players and Bandits and a chance to win an autographed Bandits jersey and a pair of tickets for the next home game. The party's 20 minutes over. Check it out tonight. It's time now to select our awards winners of the game, where the Buffalo Bandits thank the Lucky Row for being fans and attending tonight's game. Tonight's 4 awards go out to Section 120, Roll 11. Congratulations to all on the opportunity to visit the
John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. Joe Hanault, our producer. Scott Fleetwood doing stats at home. The Bandits with a 3-1 lead tonight here in the second quarter of play. And Randy, in the television timeout, we do have a challenge by Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia threw the yellow flag within the 20-second allotted time limit. They're going to question the legitimacy of the goal by Drew Westervelt, feeling that the ball went into the net. We're getting a little bit of a replay here before he goes into the crease. And as we see in the replay, I think that that's going to be counted as a good goal. He's outside the crease. He goes flying up into the air. He goes high to low. And we'll see how this left foot comes pretty close to the line. But I don't think he's in the crease. I think they're going to have to count that as a good goal. Now, that was the second goal that's been disallowed for Philadelphia. But I think Johnny Meridian was like, no, we got to take this. This one looks like a good goal. A nice ball dodge by Westervelt. He goes airborne. Yeah, the ball's in the net before he landed in the crease. That's going to be a good goal. And Scotty, for you at home, that means I'll be 7 for 7 on the challenges.
So the challenge continues between our statman Scott Fleetwood and my broadcast partner Randy Mearns. Timeout here in the second quarter, 9:55 remaining, 3-1 Buffalo. And the crew chief taking a look at things here, whether or not it will be allowed, but my broadcast partner is pretty good at this and looking at the replays. That we have the luxury of taking a look at many of the angles that the crew chief is doing right now. And it appears to be that big number 26, Drew Westervelt, was indeed in flight
Well,
while the ball crossed the goal line.
you know, you get these instant replays, the slow-mo. It's like 2020's hindsight. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's a good goal.
That's a pretty good ground level shot that we're seeing on our monitor here in the Ted Darling Memorial Press Box, and crew chief is ready to come out to
Yeah, the Bandit fans aren't going to be
show his
happy with
result.
this. I don't think they're going to be happy. You're going to hear the boo. Yeah, there's the boo.
There's the boo.
They're not happy.
3-2 Buffalo.
You know, that kind of reminds me, like when the referee comes out. Yeah, what's that? It's like Aussie rules football. Like they kick through the posts, and the ref kind of comes out 5 yards and gives the old, huh.
Oh yeah,
It's a goal.
it's a goal. Waves the flag a little bit. In Aussie rule football, they just do it just a straight
They just do the straight, right? They come out.
touchdown look here in indoor lacrosse. So Drew Westervelt scores his 14th goal of the season. What did you call that one, Randy? A power bull?
It was yeah, power ball. It was a nice bull dodge. Like he just went right through the defender, just got to the net.
Bull dodge.
Again, he's 6'5", 238. I mean, he can get to the cage, kind of reminiscent of like a Paulie Gate. You know what? I'm just going to run through you.
You know what? I'm just going to run through you.
And that's what he did.
3-2 Buffalo. The Bandits with the ball, top of the slot as they work it now. There's a long drive that goes wide. Rebound. Wiles throws a laser that just put a dent in one of the boards and bounced all the way back out. And a break for Buffalo. Here's Brody Merrill straight in. Merrill with a shot. Hit the goal post. Left side of Cosmo. And the ball ricochets all the way back down into the Philadelphia zone.
Well, Buffalo got away with one there.
Wow.
On the power play, they had 5 guys, 5 steps from the goal crease. Philadelphia went down on a 2-on-0 breakaway. Coaching staff can't be too happy about the power play there, but they got away with it. A double post.
Bandits working the ball well. Shot saved by Brandon Miller. Top of the slot is Luke Wiles. There's a drive that goes wide. Rebound back behind the Philadelphia net, and stretching is Brandon Miller. He'll leave it for his defenseman, and it's cleared back out the line.
Yeah, Chad Culp wants that one back, a little frustrated with himself. He slipped a seam right in the prime scoring area, had all kinds of time. He just missed the shot high and wide.
10 seconds left in the penalty to White. 3-2 Buffalo. Philadelphia taking the time off wisely as Jordan Hall comes over to the right wing side. Eyes up the situation. Setting up is Stainhouse. There's a give and go shot saved by Cosmo. Rebound picked up by Buffalo. And Kevin Crowley is denied. But the Wings are back to full strength, so we're playing 5-on-5 lacrosse here in the second half of this second quarter. Buffalo leads it 3-2. Mark Stainhouse in over the line. Dane Smith with the lane from the slot area, powers his way. And now forced behind the net. Smith hanging onto the ball with 5 to shoot. Here's Smith with a shot. Miller with a save. Rebound picked up by the 13-year veteran Brandon Miller. And we'll have another stoppage in play, and I believe we're going to have a penalty coming up against Philadelphia. A hold.
Buffalo going to go on their 3rd power play. Unsuccessful the last time out. They're 1 for 2. Luke Wiles getting the first marker on the first power play. And this is where momentum shifts. You know, if you can capitalize on these power plays, the special team's so important in the game of lacrosse. Last time out, they had some great quality opportunities, but Brandon Miller equal to the task.
There's a shot straight on as Miller makes the save. Rebound jumps out in front of his crease area, and he makes the outlet pass down the right wing lane. Steve Holmes brings the Wings up to Brody Merrill just outside the Buffalo line. 3-2 Bandits. Paul Rabel with the ball, digs his way back behind the Buffalo net. Now into the corner and back out to the right point. Ball picked up by Jeff Reynolds. Rabel with the shot, 5 to shoot, picked up by Buffalo.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some coincidental or no off ball. Philadelphia going to be 2 men down. Let's see what the call is here. It was off ball. I think it's a slash. as the wing player was running to the box. As the transition started to happen, I think he gave one of the Bandits a slash go, and he got caught by the referees. And that's going to go against Ned Crotty, number 22. The Buffalo got a 5-on-3 man advantage.
Setting the stage down in the Philadelphia zone to the far side. Here's Luke Wiles down to the near side over to Aaron Wilson with a shot blazing just to the right of the Philadelphia net. Buffalo getting the rebound. It's Wiles back over to Wilson. Give and go play. Stopped by Philadelphia's defense. Wilson checked along the end boards here with 6 minutes and 41 seconds left in the second quarter. 3-2 Buffalo. Wiles to Tavares. Give and go. Wilson over the crossbar. Rebound. Sean Williams from the corner. Slapped away by Philadelphia's defense, but Williams comes back with it with the help of John Tavares, and Tavares has got it from the right point. Here's Tavares tipping it over to Williams from the corner, retrieving that loose ball. Now back to Wiles with the shot. He scores!
Number 2 on the power play for Wiles. A great look by Sean Williams. Second chances to get the loose ball. He comes out and feeds a nice pass through the seams. And it looks like Wiles kind of gave a Cody Jamieson twister. It looked like he was going to go short side. He kind of pulled it back to the far side past Miller. Great goal by Wiles.
Sooner or later, that laser was going to find Twine, and it did to the glove side of Brandon Miller, low down below. And it's 4-2 Buffalo.
And interesting, just real quickly, John, Ned Crotty's penalty was a 5-minute major. I think with the slash, maybe he got it up in the head. I missed it on the away from the play. But with that major, Buffalo can score 3 power play goals. This is a big, big opportunity to extend the lead for the Bandits.
Kevin Crowley's shot goes wide after it was set up by Paul Rabel. Billy D. Smith checking along the boards to the far side, right at the Buffalo line. And play a stop with 5:46 left here in the second quarter. 4-2 Buffalo. 3:39 left in Ned Crotty's 5-minute major. Kevin Ross with the ball to the near side. Challenging is Steve Priolo. Bandits defenseman Kevin Buchanan out on the rush as well. Paul Rabel to the far side as Ross comes in over the line and right into the Buffalo crease line. Flushed back out by Buffalo's defense. 5 to shoot for Philadelphia. Ross still hanging on to it, trying to look for the lane. He does. And Cosmo comes up with a save. The rebound picked up by Jay Thornburg. He'll run it back out to the face-off circle at center with 5:09 left here in the second quarter. Buffalo leading it 4-2. Luke Wiles with 2 goals tonight. Dane Smith works it from the left point. Top of the slot is Matt Giles, far side. Has tipped over to Aaron Wilson. He's forced from the near corner. Give and go shot over the shoulder feed by Mike Hominick, hitting the goalpost. And that will hit the high netting and stop the clock with 4:45 left to play. Second quarter, 4-2 Buffalo tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
Please join us for the Miller Lite postgame party in Cobblestone after every home game this season. Don't miss out on the opportunity to hang out with your favorite Bandits players and Bandettes and a chance to win an autographed Bandits jersey and a pair of tickets to the next home game. The party's 21 and over. Check it out tonight. Fans Tracy Kaluski and the Buffalo Bandits are offering play like the pros. Youth lacrosse clinics here at First Irish Center. There are 3 sessions available starting in March. The cost of each session is $59 per child. Visit bandits.com to register for more information. All right, it's time for a game we like to call Buffalo Racks. Presented by Cobblestone. Racks is with Mitchell. And he's going to attempt to answer a Bandits trivia question. If he answers it correctly, he's going to win an autographed Bandits jersey. Here's a question. Which Bandits player appeared in his 200th consecutive game earlier this season against the Philadelphia Wings? Was it A, Sean Williams, or B, Anthony Cosmo?
Attention, Junior Bandettes. March 23rd is your date from 2 to 5 p.m. right here at First Niagara Center. It's open to girls ages 7 through 17. Costs $45 per girl. All participants receive a Junior Bandette t-shirt. That's the Junior Bandettes Clinic happening on March 23rd, 2-5 here at First Niagara. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. Second quarter action where the Bandits lead it 4-2, and they're working on a power play. Ned Crotty sitting into the box on a 5-minute major. He's got 2:40 left on that one. And when we resume, Matt Giles has got the ball to the outside over to Mike Hominick, deep into the corner. Back over to Hominick, setting it back over to Giles. Seeing as the quarterback from the top of the power play is Giles. Give and go shot. Feed in front was intended for Wilson, but it's forced out by Philadelphia's defense and down into the near Philadelphia corner. Scramble for the ball continues. Picked up by Giles with a shot. That's stopped at point blank range by Brandon Miller. Rebound over to Dane Smith. This is second quarter action where the Bandits lead it 4-2 and working with the man advantage. Dane Smith works it back over to Matt Giles. Far side over to Hominick. Hominick looking into the corner to Chad Culp. Culp eyeing up the situation. Forced back into the corner. Give and go over to Smith with a shot. Saved by Miller. Smith again, and Miller with another save. A double whammy by Dane Smith. Two big saves by Brandon Miller, and the ball comes back out by Philadelphia's Michael Manley. Being pressed by Buffalo way outside at center. Now it's picked up by Kevin Crowley. Tips it back outside to Jordan Hall. Over to Drew Westervelt. Westervelt with a shot that goes to the left side of Cosmo. Got a piece of it, resetting the shot clock, but it's Buffalo's ball. And running across the line is Mike Hominick. He's got Dane Smith with him. Hominick scores!
Great goal by Hominick. That's going to count as a power play marker, but it's really a 2-on-1. And a great screen by Dane Smith as he kind of blocks off the path for the Philadelphia wing defender to get to Hominick. And he kind of just cocks it 1-2 and then goes high heat over the left shoulder of Miller. The third power play marker for the Buffalo Bandits. They got a 3-goal lead.
8th goal of the season for Mike Hominick. He was a healthy scratch last night and turning in a fine performance so far here in Buffalo with a 5-2 Bandit lead from the draw. Won by Buffalo. Scott Self helping out David Brock. And Brock will leave it to Mark Stainhouse. Stainhouse leaves it to the forwards, led by John Tavares. Tavares is outside the line. Right wing pass as it goes over to Sean Williams. Tavares exchanges it over to Wiles. Now Wiles and Tavares set the stage up by getting Buffalo into a different position. Here's Tavares from the right point. He'll work it now from the slot area. In the lane, over to Aaron Wilson. One to shoot. Wilson takes the shot. And Miller comes up with a save right at the 1-second mark of the shot clock. And Philadelphia getting out of their own zone. Ball picked up by Steve Holmes. Out to midfield. Paul Rabel with the ball outside the face-off circle at center. Getting some pressure by Jimmy Purvis. And Rabel turns on the speed. Makes a nice cut. Still hangs on to the ball from the slot area. Works it back over to Jordan Hall. Here's Hall now from the slot. Reverses his position. Tips it back over to Kevin Ross on the give and go. But it hit the shoulder of the netting from the outside. And that's going to do it on the shot clock for Philadelphia. And here comes Buffalo on their rush. 10 seconds left in the major to Crotty. 5-2 Buffalo. John Harrison with the ball. Tipping it over to the far side. Over to Sean Williams. From the corner now is Tavares taking a look over to Matt Giles with a give and go shot. And Miller, another fine save for Philadelphia. 22nd shot on goal by the Bandits. In over the line. Comes Ed Crotty. Near side pass now over to Kevin Ross. Back behind the net. A diving shot by Drew Westervelt. That hits the end boards, but picked up by Philadelphia on the rebound. 7 to shoot from the corner. It's Kevin Ross with a shot saved by Cosmo. Rebound, an outlet pass, and an ongoing run intended for Billy D. Smith, and he remains in pursuit of that ball into the far Philadelphia corner. Smith in the webbing of his stick. The big defender scored last night in Toronto. Leaves it back out now for Buffalo's forwards. Here's Mike Hominick with a shot just to the right side of Miller. Ball picked up by Philadelphia and back out to midfield. They storm. Good lead pass. As Drew Westervelt comes in over the shoulder feed.
Now Philadelphia is going to go back to the box. This one's going to be an illegal substitution as they were trying to gain transition. Now you have this big hole box. It's like a big rectangle in front of the two benches. Well, the Philadelphia wing guy went in more where the Buffalo Bandit bench starts, and they already came out the back door. That's going to be a procedural call. And Buffalo's going to go back on their 4th or 5th power play of the game. Scotty, if you were here, you would tell me whether it was 4 or 5. But that being said, another glorious opportunity. Buffalo has 3 power play markers. They can extend the lead by 4 if they can capitalize here.
John Tavares works the power play. Shot score! Luke Wiles!
Wow, they're just coming quick for him today on the power play. It's 1 pass, 2 pass, a give and go, and then Wiles, same spot, just locks and loads, a high to low to the short side off of the pad of Brandon Miller. That's the 3rd goal for Wiles, and that's the 3rd goal on the power play, the hat trick on the power play for Cool Hand.
6-2 Buffalo. Wiles has got some grease on that shot.
Bandits' 6th goal. His 3rd of the game. For our team.
10 goals on the season for Luke Wiles. Under a minute to play here in the first half. The commissioner of the National Lacrosse League in town tonight and will be my halftime guest as Buffalo's shot goes wide by Billy D. Smith getting a part of offense. Here's Dane Smith taking the shot. That goes high and picked up by Philadelphia with 19 seconds left. 6-2 Buffalo. And a possession timeout for Philadelphia. And Johnny Meridian's crew will regroup over to the Philadelphia bench and design a play. Try to get back into the offensive swing of things.
Yeah, 17.7 seconds left. They'll pull Brandon Miller to go 6 on 5. Try to create that last opportunity. Try to make this a little bit closer before we go into halftime. Hey, I got an interesting stat for you.
Okay.
We have 8 goals total in the game. Of those 8 goals, 7 have been special team goals.
That's something that the Bandits really are trying to work on, and they're doing a fine job at it tonight.
Well, they certainly are. They got 1, 2, 3.
You got a lot of power plays there.
4 power play markers
and a
shorthanded marker, while Philadelphia has 1 power play marker and a shorthanded marker to their own right. So special teams, a big factor in a Friday night affair here at the First Niagara Center.
Classic Friday night affair.
Friday night. I like Friday night affairs.
A rare Thursday night game in Toronto, a rare Friday night game here in Buffalo, and 2 of the traditional teams of the National Lacrosse League in Buffalo and Philadelphia. And the Wings will try to get something here with 17.7 seconds remaining. Down 6-2. Kevin Buchanan with the ball just outside the slot area. He's got Jordan Hall with him at right. Buchanan passing it to Hall. Deep into the corner as it goes and set up for Kevin Ross. There's a give and go shot and saved by Cosmo. 1/10 of a second left, and boy, Scott Self is hammered down onto the turf.
Yeah, Kevin Ross was in the back of Scotty Self, gave him a shot from behind as it looked like Self was going to try to pick that ball up and try to hit the empty net. And that one's going to sting. They won. Philadelphia Wings didn't get the marker to bring it close. And then they're going to start the 3rd quarter, a man down.
Halftime here at First Niagara Center, 6-2 Buffalo. The commissioner of the National Lacrosse League, my guest coming up after this timeout on Bandits Lacrosse.
Here's the Philadelphia penalty. 2 minutes to Kevin Ross, number 71. For a hit from behind, Ross, 2 minutes for a hit from
The Wells Fargo Center, Philadelphia's home for their beloved Flyers, 76ers, and the Philadelphia Wings. The Wings franchise have been with the National Lacrosse League since its conception. Tonight, a new Wings squad will begin their 27th season in Philadelphia and look for success against the Bandits of Buffalo.
Good, Chad.
Last season, the Wings were faced with a first-round exit in the playoffs. The result was a series of off-season personnel changes, bringing a horde of young players to the city, one of whom is Paul Rabel. The Baltimore native is arguably the best player in the outdoor game. Inside the boards, Paul enters only his 5th year in the league. Regardless of his time with the Wings, Paul is here for a championship, but understands it's the little things, that extra rep and that extra ground ball, that will help him and his team get there. With the young, come the old. The defense, headed by All-Pro captain Brody Merrill and 13-year veteran goalie Brandon Miller. It is undoubtedly their team and theirs to direct.
Start ramping it up right now. All right, hey, first step tonight. Here we go. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team. Well, boys. Yeah.
Minutes before game time, Coach Meridian preps his team for the night.
Guys, let's take this opportunity. Let's take this opportunity tonight and let's show everybody in this locker room how we can be a team. You know, we talked about that level of leadership that we have, our captains, that whole second level of leadership. Everybody in this locker room is a leader, guys. Let them take penalties. Let's be smart. But also, if anybody with anybody in this club, we stick up for each other because that's what they're going to do. And we grab shirts. Okay, boys? Team tough, play smart, and let's go out there and be athletes. Let's be athletes tonight. Let's go,
boys. Let's go, Red. Come on now. Nobody's getting stuck in the thing of this club here except the guys in the room, alright? Let's think everyone take notice tonight, boys. Let's go. Raise up 3. 1, 2, 3. Raise!
Let's go.
Now.
Believe in each other, fellas. Believe in each other.
Early in the game, the Bandits' physical play tested the Wings and forced them to show restraint.
Crease violation on to Drew Westerfeld, but he was hammered hard afterwards by Mark Stainhouse, and it looks like Stainhouse will be going to the box for that move. And Westerfeld back down just to the left side of the Buffalo net on his stomach, not moving, so medical attention in force now with 10 minutes and 57 seconds left to play. We'll see what goes up onto the penalty clock here at the Wells Fargo Center as Westerveld picks himself back up.
With restraint came the chance to capitalize, and an ensuing series of power plays gave the Wings an edge.
Kevin Buchanan with a shot, score! That's led over to Jordan Hall. They have captured their sizable lead with the power play tonight specifically, and they're working on it again with a score. Brody Merrill got a lead pass with the man advantage, and it is 6-2 Philadelphia as Mark Stainhouse sits in the penalty box. Second Kevin Buchanan from the right point. Here's Buchanan with his shot. That hits the goalpost inside the crease area. And Buchanan, former Bandit, gets the Wings a lead. 9-4 Philadelphia here in the third quarter of play. Dane Smith into the line for the Bandits from the far side. He's got an open lane, takes the shot, he scores! Dane Smith!
The Bandits continued to fight, but the Wings kept them always at a distance.
Good check down by Buffalo's defense on one of the Philadelphia players, and that obviously stopped the play. That was by Luke Wild. Philadelphia going back onto the power play. Well, two Buffalo players now going to the penalty box. Mike McNamara and Jimmy Purvis going to the box. Going to win this one 13-8 tonight from the Wells Fargo Center. Shots on goal officially now 60. Philadelphia to the Bandits 41.
For the young team, tonight's win will act as reassurance that success in this league is within their reach. For the veterans, it's the first step of a long season, one in which every play and every shift will matter in the long run. For the city, the win tonight is hope that 2013 will bode well for their team.
Not only 7, we got 13 new guys on this club. 13 new players and 7 rookies. That's a huge, huge step up, character win for all you guys. We are so proud of you right now, and everybody in this town is proud of you right now. This is a real big for this franchise to have this home win, guys. Couple of things to add to B. Composure number 1. We controlled our emotions, didn't we? Even when they got penalties, we got caught up in a little bit, and then we really kept our composure and our emotions. Good work, guys. Unbelievable.
Hey, let's build on it now, boys. Fucking build on it.
Next week's another one.
All right. Bring it up and let's put on some techno. Hey, boys, it's a game of runs, and we didn't fucking give them any runs, eh? We answered every one of their goals. Nice job. You're right.
Hey, it's just one game. Hey, but it's a great start. It's a great start and a lot to build on. And wins in this league are hard to come by, right? And it was a great effort, but we got to improve. We got to improve next week. Is a big one in Toronto. Right?
Hey, boys,
like Toronto.
We haven't had a chance to drink together, have we? Tonight we stick together.
Let's drink some beer.
Wings unite tonight, baby.
Here we go. Hey, did rookie bring beers? We cheer now?
That's my guy.
Hey, let's do it on the show.
1, 2, 3.
Not only in the radio broadcast, but our audio and the coverage is going over to the YouTube coverage through the Lacrosse Network.
It's a great platform for us. We've been very aggressive in webcasting over the years, and this partnership with YouTube through the Lacrosse Network, our friends over there, have enabled us to really take the game to another level, to the biggest platform, one of the biggest websites in the world. Obviously our fans, the games are on NLL.com, they'll find us there. But being on a platform like YouTube allows new fans to find us every day. And that's what's really exciting, in this digital age that, we don't have some of the opportunities that the NHL has and the NFL has, but being able to exercise and exploit these digital platforms and social media really levels the playing field for us, and we continue to see growth every day, and it's really exciting.
What about the response from the YouTube broadcasts?
I think it's great. We've been striving to improve the webcast each week. I know tonight's game is in HD, and
we're continuing to look to make it better each week. I know the response has been really good, and the fans seem to really appreciate the improvements we've made.
6-2 at halftime, Buffalo over Philadelphia here at First Niagara Center. John Gertler along with the commissioner of the National Lacrosse League, George Daniel. You have also taken under your wing a survey that you released out onto your monthly newsletter, also digital, and an opportunity for fans to participate. Can you share with any type of early response that you've received from that research?
I have not had the research yet, but we asked our fans, and we do this periodically. We try to poll our fans and survey them on various topics. In this one, it was really about a number of things related to the length of the season, number of games they'd like to see, and in that type of area. And it allows us to do some long-term strategic planning.
What are you expecting from that? You did ask some detailed questions. I did the survey, so the questions are very detailed. What day of the week do you want the games? The span of the season? Would you like it earlier? Would you like it longer?
I mean, it helps us try to understand what fans want, so we can understand, like last night's game in Toronto, whether that's something we should explore more, and doing a weeknight game. Obviously, this is a predominantly weekend league, given most of the players have other jobs, and so for us, long-term planning, we have to look at that strategically and say, okay, it's it might make sense from maybe a broadcast standpoint, maybe to play a weeknight game, but will our fans come out and support it? Will they buy tickets for it? So those are the type of things we have to look at and examining, and so we're going to compile the results and take our time and look at it and make some long-term decisions.
So you haven't had a chance for an early peek. Have you had a chance to take a look at how many people have actually done the survey?
It's a very
and you're getting some good participation, so qualitative results will be substantial.
Absolutely, yeah. The number is scientifically relevant for us statistically, so we're in good shape with that. I'll be getting the report early next week, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
6-2 the score. Buffalo over Philadelphia halftime at First Niagara Center. John Gertler with the NLL commissioner George Daniel. Competition changing on a yearly basis, and George, with the style of game that's being employed today, it's faster, it's certainly smarter, and we're seeing a lot of scoring that's very exciting. Witness that, I'll interrupt you, but witness the ESPN Top 10 today on Sean Williams' goal in Toronto.
Yeah, Sean Williams' goal, and that's probably like the fourth or fifth goal we've had on Top 10, and we're halfway through the season. So that's very exciting that ESPN Sports Center would be taking note of so many of our plays. I think it goes to what you've suggested, that the game is more athletic than ever. The plays are great. From a competition standpoint, I mean, I think we have the most competitive league in the world, and I think this is the most competitive season we've ever had. The 9 teams, you really have no idea who's going to win it. Come out on top of this thing. We saw how it evolved last year with dark horses at the end in Edmonton and Rochester, and nothing would surprise me. We're 2 months into this, and it's really going to be about who finishes strong. And we take some criticism for the playoff format, having 8 out of 9 teams in it, but I defy anybody to suggest how hard these guys are going. If anybody thinks they've got it in the bank, no one wants to be. First of all, no one wants to be that 9th team, and so everyone is giving it their all every single week to make sure they're not, because no one has anything in the bag right now. And beyond that, obviously, there's home field. There's a lot of things at stake, and so the competition this season's been incredible. Just when you think you have things figured out, games turn on their back, teams turn their fortunes around. Philadelphia last weekend turned their fortunes around in 24 hours. The way they played, and and they were down 4-0. Similarly, like tonight, they're down 4 goals to Rochester, and they totally turned it around. So nothing surprises me anymore. You expect the unexpected.
Do you think, George, in the playoff situation, that a year could come where there will be a series, a best of 3?
It's the challenge for us is
5, 7.
The challenge for us is the weekend format, and playing a best of 3. You could have one series in one bracket be a sweep, and the other one turn into 3 games, and so that extends it another week, and it's just not as simple as playing 2 games on back-to-back weekends on the same weekend because of our relationships with the buildings and the arena dates, with the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs in some buildings. So, for us, I think what we've looked at more closely to date is what Major League Soccer does, with a two-game series, and then some kind of tiebreaker at the end, whether it's an extended overtime period. If we were going to do something, that's the one that seems to make the most sense in the current situation if we're going to be a weekend league.
George Daniel, great thanks.
Thanks for having me.
The commissioner of the National Lacrosse League in town tonight here in Buffalo. And we're just about ready to begin the third quarter of play with the Bandits leading it 6-2. That opening faceoff after this timeout on Bandits Lacrosse. Bring us back, Joe. That's a good sound. The Bandits score in the opening moments of the second half to take a 7-2 lead over the Philadelphia Wings on the power play.
Second goal by Sean Williams off a good feed by cool hand Luke. Williams goes far side, and it's kind of almost like a give and go. He feeds it to Luke Wiles. He doesn't shoot. He throws the twister to Sean Williams. Brandon Miller way out of the net. And Williams makes no mistake. That is the 5th power play goal of the evening for the Bandits. And they have a commanding 5-goal lead, 7-2. Big momentum shift and huge marker to start this third quarter.
A lot at stake for the Buffalo Bandits, a tiebreaker in this regular season series. And also a chance to tie the Toronto Rock for the lead of the Eastern Division. But right now, work at hand with a 7-2 lead in the opening moments of this third quarter of play. It's great to have the National Lacrosse League Commissioner, George Daniel, in town. And we wanted to spend as much time as we could with him during the halftime break and ask a few questions. And we could go on for a long time. But we appreciate the Commissioner of the National Lacrosse League stopping into our broadcast booth and spend some time at halftime and talk a little bit about how things are going. There is Paul Rabel with a shot and a goal.
Great goal by Rabel. He's trying to get the Philadelphia Wings jacked up. He gets a double screen from Kevin Crawley. And Mike McClellan, he comes up over top, kind of does his patented little jump shot. A great screen, gets his hands free and goes high to low to the far side. Cosmo looking at it saying, ooh, I gotta have that one. He didn't like that. But a great goal from a great player. Oh, he picks the corner. I don't know if there was much Cosmo could have done on that one.
So Paul Rabel, who scored a hat trick last week in Rochester in their come from behind victory, nets his 7th of the season and puts the 3rd Philadelphia goal On the scoreboard, 7-3 Buffalo here in the early goings of this third quarter of play. Bandits with the ball. John Tavares at center. Flips it now back over to Williams as Tavares sets up a pick for Williams. Good pressure on by Philadelphia, coming back up with the ball, winning the confrontation and control of the ball. In over the line, there's a shot save by Cosmo. And a good triple effort by Kyle Hartzell for Philadelphia.
And unfortunately, Matt Giles is going to go to the box for a hold as Hartzell tried to break away from Giles. Kind of got a stick in there. I don't think he meant to hold Hartzell as he was breaking away, but kind of got caught in the hands. Hartzell still able to get to the net. A big save by Cosmo. But nonetheless, the Philadelphia Wings are going to go on their second power play of the evening.
Did you get that from Scott Fleetwood on a text or
no.
a Google chat? There's a shot and a goal by Philadelphia. They wasted a little time getting that one done.
Yeah, kind of reminiscent of Luke Wiles for the Buffalo Bandits. Yeah, that's Kevin Buchanan. He gets a feed from the top. Jordan Hall, the box doesn't rotate. He has that free lane in and just goes short side on Cosmo. And just like that, it's 7-4. This game's a little bit closer as a resulting power play goal by the Philadelphia Wings.
Well, the Wings can do it for sure. They were down 4-0 in Rochester after the first quarter of play, and they stormed right back to defeat the Hawks and played on a solid game Sunday against Colorado at home. Here's Mike Hominick with the ball. Give and go shot to the right side of Miller. Rebound is picked up by Aaron Wilson. He'll scoot behind the net and go to the far side. Good defense by Philadelphia, and they break out with the ball. A foot race now. Going to the line is Kyle Sweeney. Tipping it back to the forwards. They're back onto the turf. And extra attacker is out. I don't see an arm up, so the extra attacker is out. There's a penalty coming up against Buffalo. One of the referees down in the near corner. Drew Westerveld with the ball. Give and go shot off the end board. Scoots out to midfield. It'll be retained by Philadelphia, but the shot clock expires on Philadelphia. However, a penalty coming up against Buffalo will afford Philadelphia to try to capitalize a little bit more. It's going to go against...
Yeah, I think it's going to go against the in-home, whoever Darius Kilgore has that. I think it's going to be Jimmy Purvis. That's going to be a technical foul at the bench for too many men. Somebody coming out the back door a little bit too early as Philadelphia created a great transition opportunity. And they're back on the power play. Third time tonight. They're 2 for 2.
Setting up the box out for Philadelphia. There's Buchanan, top of the slot over to Jordan Hall. Kevin Crowley back to Hall with a shot. That's blocked off the side of David Brock, and he sweeps the ball at midfield. Stolen by Philadelphia's Kevin Buchanan. Tips it down into the far corner. Play works it to the top of the slot. Buchanan with a drive. Saved by Cosmo, and the outlet pass to the near side to Steve Priolo. 7-4 Buffalo, third quarter action. Buffalo serving a penalty for too many men on the field. 1:21 left on that call. And Priolo stays with the rush on the penalty killing team for the Buffalo Bandits. Chad Culp is out there and controls the ball to the near side. Deeks his way now in over the Philadelphia line, getting closer to Brandon Miller. Triple teamed on the play and took it right to the line as the 30-second shot clock expired. That's excellent penalty killing.
Well, it certainly is. You know, you waste that 30 seconds. Less than a minute on this Philadelphia power play. If Buffalo can survive this next 25 seconds, they're going to have a great opportunity to kill the man advantage for the Wings.
Wings setting it up down to the Bandit zone. Kevin Crowley takes the shot. He scores!
And a dart feed by Kevin Ross to the top of the slot to Kevin Crowley, his first marker of the night. He wastes no time. Quick hands for the 6'5", second-year player for the Wings. He goes high to high over the shoulder of Anthony Cosmo. And I don't know if Cosmo got a little screened here as Derek Sutton's rotated in from the box to the diamond. Great shot by Crowley, and it's a 7-5 game. 3 power play goals by the Philadelphia Wings, 5 power play goals by the Buffalo Bandits.
And we've just played 5 minutes of this third quarter of play, and Kevin Crowley, what a strong weekend of pass he had with 4 goals and 7 assists. And on the scoreboard tonight for the Philadelphia Wings, clawing their way back into this game, 7-5 Buffalo. Bandits with the ball. David Brock with a shot that's saved by Brandon Miller. Rebound picked up by the Wings, but the clock stops for an official timeout here at First Niagara Center. 7-5 Buffalo. This is Bandits lacrosse.
Powered by Reebok, merchandise stand for all the latest Buffalo Bandits apparel and merchandise. The Sabres store open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and during all Sabres and Bandits home games. Step down for the Devils, Happy Wheel. Keep your eye on the ribbon boards to see if your section wins a coupon for a hot and cafe beverage. And any participating McDonald's will allow this section wins. So make some noise if you want to free the cafe. Tonight's line section is 108. Congratulations, section 108 McDonald's. Love it. All right, man, take a look at the HDB board. Got to find out how much love is in Canada. You can do it. You can do it yourself. It's fine.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Reebok. You can redefine your game with Reebok's new Black line. Reebok Black was designed and engineered for the elite lacrosse player. Reebok Black line features a lightweight and minimalistic design with carbon light technology. Performance-driven, technology-driven, NLL proven. Find all the new Reebok lacrosse gear online at ReebokBlack.com. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. Third quarter action with the Bandits hanging on to a 7-5 lead over the streaking Philadelphia Wings. Coming on strong here in this third frame. And they've got control of the ball down in the Buffalo zone. Paul Rabel, who found net already tonight, tips it back over to Kevin Buchanan, now to Rabel. Rabel with 8 to shoot, straight in and over the crossbar, hitting the high netting. And apparently it hit Cosmo as well.
Yeah, that went
so
off the...
It will be Philadelphia's ball.
Yeah, off the left shoulder, Cosmo on a streaking Rabel down that left-hand side. Cosmo throwing up the big pad into the stands. Philly regains possession. But then immediately, Kevin Crawley throws a bomb that Cosmo holds. And Buffalo able to transfer the ball into the offensive zone.
This is Mark Stainhouse right at the Buffalo line, or checked at the Philadelphia line, taking the shot, hits the turf over the crossbar of Philadelphia and cleared back out to center field, carried by Brody Merrill. In over the line to Kevin Crowley. Third quarter action, 8:45 remaining, 7-5 Buffalo. Here's Philadelphia's shot that goes wide off the stick of Mike McClellan. And it will be Buffalo's ball, and Jay Thornburg will bring it back out for the Bandits down the left wing lane. Tips the turf over to Jimmy Purvis, who approaches the Philadelphia line and goes to the full head of steam, giving go shot. It went to the right side of Brandon Miller. Fans thought it was a goal and hit net in the back off the swing of Aaron Wilson. And here comes Philadelphia striking quickly back down into the Buffalo zone. 7-5 Buffalo here in this third quarter of play. Paul Rabel works it now from the left point. Will be streaking in, trying to get an open lane away, goes to the far side. That's over to Kevin Buchanan, now into the far corner, looking for a low drive and going to the right side of the Buffalo net, and the shot clock expiring, and also an over and back charge. So Buffalo's ball as it goes down into the Philadelphia zone, and play resumes back out at the face-off circle at center, with Luke Wiles taking it from one of the on-field officials over to Matt Giles. Giles now over to Sean Williams. Williams dekes his way into traffic, goes to the far side over to Dane Smith. Now over to Luke Wiles. Got the hat trick tonight as Wiles forces it back out in front, swiping at it. That was an interesting play by Luke Wiles and Dane Smith, and Brandon Miller forced to make a save at point-blank range.
Yeah, that was a good save by Miller. Luke Wiles just throwing that ball to space as opposed to trying to really get it to Dane Smith. Smith reads the play, and he goes airborne, swatting it out of the air. Miller had to be sharp to keep that out of the back of the net.
Philadelphia's Kevin Crowley with the ball, looking for an open lane. He's at the left point, scoots in closer. Jimmy Purvis all over him. Crowley hanging onto the ball, shot wide and high, and the rebound picked up by Anthony Cosmo and over to Scott Self. Veteran defenseman for the Bandits. Self now over to Mike Hominick. Hominick tipping it over to Aaron Wilson. Back over to Hominick. Couldn't make the connection. And a loose ball is picked up by Philadelphia and a break down the left wing lane. Comes Kyle Sweeney. Sweeney in over the line. Give and go. Shot saved by Cosmo.
Oh, Buchanan had a lot of steam. He came out the front door like a bullet. Sweeney found him in full stride, but Buchanan could not beat Cosmo.
John Harrison inside the Philadelphia zone. Double teamed on the play. Dane Smith in to help. Now it goes into the far corner. 7-5 Buffalo, third quarter action.
That's going to be a push call on Manley in the corner. Buffalo going to regain possession. Great GB battle by Dane Smith. That's what it takes. You got to have possession. Smith battling. He gets the call from the officials.
Sean Williams with it to the outside over to Dane Smith. A lot of slapping going on as Smith works it inside. Here's Dane Smith with the shot. He scores!
The youngster's so powerful. He goes one-on-one on Michael Manley. A Duke University product, great defender, and they just go one-on-one, but it's showing the size and the strength. He's 6'3", 210. And then all of a sudden he steps away. He goes low to low, a great individual effort. Manley's got him, frees his hands, and goes low to low to stop the bleeding on this Philadelphia run and try to regain some momentum back for the Buffalo Bandits.
8-5 Buffalo, and they're got a chance to make it 9, but a shot wide by Chad Cope, straight in on Brandon Miller. So for the young rookie Dane Smith, his 13th goal of the year, give Buffalo the 8-5 lead. Philadelphia with the ball. Brody Merrill is there, goes to the far side. Remains a part of the attack now to the near side over to Kevin Crowley. Crowley works his way in close, takes the shot. Cosmo with the save, rebound picked up by Kevin Ross. Ross now trying to feed Paul Rabel, but elects to go to the far corner by Philadelphia's. And that will be held on to back over to Jordan Hall, now to Paul Rabel. Here's Rabel with a diving shot. He scores!
Yeah, they're going to count that. I think that's a good goal. Rabel able to utilize the seal, get down the alley, and then comes across the field, looks to go far side, comes back short side on Cosmo. Great effort by Rabel. Cosmo gets a little piece of it, but she still trickles into the net. And the Wings are back within 2.
So Paul Rabel in flight, making that nice move in front of Anthony Cosmo to give Philadelphia their 6th goal of the game. And on a run here in this second half. Second of the night for Paul Rabel as Buffalo knocks on the door. There's a shot that goes in and out of the crease. The rebound is picked up by John Tavares to the near side. Here's Tavares back behind the net. A feed pass out in front. There's a low drive that goes wide by Matt Giles, and the rebound picked up by Philadelphia. Good swarming attempt on that rush by Buffalo, but Philadelphia counters in over the line. Comes Kevin Buchanan. There's Buchanan shoveling pass over to Crowley. Crowley now hangs on to that ball. Boyd's it shot. Drew Westerfeld with a shot. Shoulder saved by Cosmo. Had to take a second look at that one.
Yeah,
Wasn't sure whether that would just peel off his pads or not.
He certainly did. I mean, that was a big bomb by Westervelt. He had a lot of time, a lot of space. But Anthony Cosmo able to throw up that big right pad, but then it almost trickled, but it went, luckily for him, to the right side.
There's Aaron Wilson with a shot to goal.
The goals are coming fast and furious. Wilson in transition. Buffalo sets up that 5-on-5. He's the last one out the front door. Gets a real nice soft feed. He's got time to step into it. And he blows a high heater. As the defense breaks down, nobody goes out and challenges. They kind of hold and hold. He just takes advantage. What a shot over the left shoulder of Brandon Miller. And the Bandits are back up within 3.
4:13 left to play, third quarter. There's an equipment timeout, but I also think a building timeout, so we're going to do the same. 9-6 Buffalo tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
Aaron Wilson. This is the 51, Sean Williams, the other number 19. Chad Wilson for Williams and goal. Bandit goal, 10:47. Gonna give it defense. 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 Defense.
I guess we took the wrong cue, or the referees didn't see this commercial light on. There's a red light down onto the floor where the off-field officials are that indicates that there is a TV timeout, a media timeout as they call it, inside the buildings. And when the last Buffalo goal was scored and Brandon Miller requested the equipment manager to come out to take a look at his pads, they decided that they would take a break because the red light went on. So that's our indication to go to break. But we just came back from break and they just went to break. So here's a break for you, Randy Mearns.
Well, hey, that means just you and I get you and I get to talk, John. We don't talk as much anymore.
Would like to advise those listeners that are downtown Buffalo that if they want to go to the postgame party tonight, this gives us an opportunity to talk about what's going on with the Bandits postgame party. We always talk about the pregame party, but the postgame party tonight is at Cobblestone.
Tell me. I want to know.
And you can hang out with your favorite Bandit players or Bandettes and a chance to win an autographed Bandit jersey and a pair of tickets to the next home game.
Where is that at,
That's
John?
right across the street. Right across the street from the Cobblestone Street. That's why it's called Cobblestone.
Cobblestone.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, I must also identify that it's 21 and over.
21 and over.
If you're going to the postgame party, it's 21 and over. That's the Bandits postgame party. The pregame party, which we have not been to yet.
We got to get to
tonight.
that.
The place was packed. I went by there earlier this evening at 6 o'clock, where you can get a full buffet for $15 if you have a ticket. If you want a whole package, it's $30. But I guess you can just put the feed bag on and stay there from 6 to 7:30. People are having a great time tonight.
Well, they're even having a much better time. Buffalo's up 9-6, 3:27 left in this third quarter, John. The Bandits got 18 more minutes in them. How's the gas? They played last night. They got to have gas in the tank to finish the Wings off here.
Dane Smith tipping it over to Matt Giles with a shot. Miller coming up with a save. The rebound jumps all the way into the far Philadelphia corner. Giles is there, kicking it and sweeping along with his stick. It's poked out and picked up by Philadelphia. And they make a mad dash down the left wing lane, led by Brody Merrill. As Johnny Meridian's crew changes up on the fly. In over the line comes Kevin Crowley. Stations himself from the left point. Feed pass out in front. Connection to Buchanan. That was tipped by a Buffalo defender's stick and goes into the far corner. A couple of Buffalo defenders are there winning the confrontation and bringing the ball back out to midfield. 2:37 left to play. Third quarter, 9-6 Buffalo. A win tonight for the Bandits would give them a tie for first place in the Eastern Division with the Toronto Rock. Chad Cope now with the ball from the right point. Works it back over to John Tavares from the slot. Now to Cope. Cope far side pass over to Luke Wiles. Here's Wiles looking for four. Takes the opportunity and the shot. Miller with the save. Rebound goes into the far corner. Wiles is there to try to get it. He's double teamed on the play, but the loose ball scoots out and it's picked up by Buffalo. And the shot clock being reset.
Yeah, great second opportunity. Wiles' individual matchup gets over top of his guy, just the power. He has the breakaway. Miller makes the save. But that's what it takes, the second opportunities. Buffalo grinding for the GB. Get another shot on the offensive end.
Tavares with the ball now. 9 to shoot from the slot area. Back over in front, and there's a mad dash and a shot. Saved by Miller. Rebound. Miller again.
And Dane Smith pays the price. Miller makes a huge save on Wilson. The rebound comes right out to Smith. Miller on his back. I think he threw up the leg or the big stick. Huge save. And then Dane Smith gets smoked from behind. A good penalty kind of to take, I think, for the Wings. And let's see it on the replay. Great second opportunity and huge save. And number 20,
Jeff Reynolds.
Jeff Reynolds going to go to the box, serving two for an illegal cross check. And the Bandits going to go back up on the power play. Really very successful tonight. And it's not something that Philadelphia wants to do. They got to try to stay out of the box. but I'd give them that penalty. You know, you got somebody that's going to score in an empty net. You got to do something defensively. And Jeff Reynolds took some liberties on Dane Smith.
So the fourth-year pro out of Maryland, Jeff Reynolds, sits in the penalty box, and Buffalo special teams go back to work. Working it nicely is Luke Wiles. John Tavares tips it over to Aaron Wilson, but it's intercepted by Philadelphia, and Steve Holmes brings the Wings back down into the Buffalo zone on a 3-on-1, and a shot that goes wide by Brody Merrill. Rebound, Buffalo. Ball picked up by Derek Suddens. Works it far down to the right wing side to John Tavares. 9-6 Buffalo with 1:05 remaining here in the third quarter of play. Chad Culp brings the Bandits from the slot area. Now to Matt Giles. Giles works it over to the side to Dane Smith. Into the corner, give and go, shot saved by Miller. Quick pass and a hard shot by Chad Culp. Rebound picked up by Tavares. There is Dane Smith, give and go, shot by Wilson, saved by Miller. And the rebound picked up by Philadelphia. 1:01 left in the penalty to Philadelphia. In over the line, and there's a shot and a score by Kevin Buchanan.
Oh, what a great individual effort, splitting the defense of the Buffalo Bandits. Kevin Buchanan, one of the quickest, fastest guys in the National Lacrosse League, again gets the ball on a full dead sprint, gives a little bit of a juke, gets to the left of Brock, and then splits back in between Brock and Harrison. Switches hands and goes far side on Cosmo.
I'll bet you he'd be a good running back.
He probably certainly would. I mean,
that kid
phenomenal field lacrosse player at Ohio State University. You know, really kind of feeling his roots here in the National Lacrosse League. Obviously had some time here in Buffalo, but has really exploded on the scene this year for the Philadelphia Wings.
Philadelphia within 2 to this game with 15 seconds left. Buffalo with the ball. Top of the slot is Tavares to Williams with a shot. Saved by Miller. Rebound. Philadelphia picked up by Kyle Sweeney, and he'll get it back out to mid-turf. And here come the Wings with a second left. Long shot by Rabel, stopped by Cosmo. So the Buffalo netminder holding off a last-second shot by Paul Rabel, and the third quarter ends with Buffalo leading it 9-7 tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
Once again, man to man, here are your Bandits.
Nine 9-7 Buffalo going into the fourth quarter of play. Randy, let's take a look at statistics.
Yeah, for the Buffalo Bandits, Luke Wiles, 3 goals and 1 assist. You know, leading the way, 3 on the power play. And again, a quiet 2 goals, 4 assist performance from the assistant captain, Sean Williams. You know, we're not saying his name a lot, but you know, he's got 6 points. He's leading the way. Paul Rabel, as of late, has gotten hot for the Philadelphia Wings. He's got 2 goals, and Kevin Buchanan has gotten 2 goals in this third quarter, trying to make a run to get themselves back into the game. Shots were fairly even, 40 for Philadelphia, 37 for Buffalo. You know, Buffalo's been able to capitalize on the power play. They got 5 power play markers. Philadelphia has 3 of their own. And again, that special teams has really kind of been the difference. Buffalo just having more opportunities to score on some of these power plays, and that's the 2-goal difference in the game, Johnny.
Bandits open up the fourth quarter of play, moving left to right, and with a 9-7 lead, John Tavares along with Matt Giles combined from the top. Goes into the corner, and the give and go set up over to Luke Wiles. Couldn't make the connection. Backed up by Aaron Wilson. John Tavares lost control of the ball, and right out of the penalty box is Reynolds, and it's a 2-on-1 setup for Philadelphia. Reynolds tips it over to Brody Merrill. Merrill a little hesitant going into the corner with John Harrison. He kicks at the ball. Reynolds in there to help as well. He is stopped by a picking Anthony Cosmo, and the ball then cleared out to midfield. Here come the Bandits with Luke Wiles along with Dane Smith. Now Mark Stainhouse a part of this rush. Here's Stainhouse, far side pass intended for Williams. It jumps in front of the Philadelphia net, and it's picked up by the Wings and cleared back out to midfield. 9-7 Buffalo here in the fourth quarter of play. Wings are working the ball in over the line as they go. That's cleared out by Kevin Buchanan. He took a swat in the face, trying to sell that one as the play continues down into the Bandits zone. We're just informed that Jim Forsythe is wearing number 21. Well, thank you so much for that update.
Yeah, we didn't have the right on the sheet. Number 21 says Jeff Reynolds.
I thought I saw the nameplate. It said Reynolds, but maybe I'm seeing things. I don't know.
I got progressive bifocal, so sometimes things slip by me.
A little far from up here, but the Wings mounting the attack here in the fourth quarter of play. In over the line they go with Kevin Ross. Ross pressuring his way in, trying to get a shot away. It's picked up on the webbing of Cosmo's stick and left out at midfield. Here's Mark Steinhaus with a shot. Splitting save by Smith. Another save. And that's by Miller. Coming up strong on those shots by Buffalo.
Yeah, Miller time hard. 2 opportunities from Buffalo. First Steinhaus on the full sprint. And then Hamanuk gets the backside rebound. He goes high, but Miller throwing up again the big pad, the big stick, making a phenomenal save, keeping Philadelphia in this game.
Jordan Hall with the ball that goes wide, picked up by Cosmo, cleared back down to Scott Self, and he'll work it back down the left wing lane. 9-7 Buffalo here in the fourth quarter of play with 12 minutes and 22 seconds left. Loose ball into the corner, picked up by Buffalo. Now Giles tips it over to Dane Smith. Smith over to Luke Wiles. Wiles looking for 4 from the slot, takes the shot. Brendan Miller with a save and the rebound. Cleared back out with the outline pass. Good pressure on by Dane Smith. And I believe that's the 8-second rule, so Buffalo counters right away with the attack, and here's Harrison with a shot to score! Wow, what a quick transition for Buffalo.
You know, that's a great effort all the way around. Dane Smith, he goes one-on-one defending Joel White, who's got to try to get the ball out in 8 seconds. He holds him up, he holds him up, he holds him up. The refs blow the whistle for the change of possession, and Buffalo reacts immediately. Johnny Harrison flies up the floor. Smith finds him, and he gives a little hedge fake, comes back short side. Miller gets a piece, but it still squirts through into the net. It's called a goal, and as the faceoff ensues, what do we got here, Johnny?
Johnny Meridian throws his yellow flag out to challenge that goal scored by John Harrison.
Now, they've already challenged one in the first half. So this would be the...
You get a challenge in the challenge per half.
So this will be the second challenge. They'll be out of challenges if they don't want to pick this yellow flag up. It looks like the challenge will happen. Buffalo questioning whether they can challenge that call or not. I mean, what great reaction first and foremost, though. One, the individual effort, Dane Smith holding up Joel White, one of the fastest guys in the National Lacrosse League, can fly. And Smith holds him up. Then the whistle goes. He picks up the ball, and he sees a streaking Johnny Harrison. And a great feed and a better goal. But we're going to see if why this goal is going to be challenged. Did he get a little too close to the crease, Johnny?
Well, we have the angles up here that's currently in still format right at the moment. The referees, Matt Robinson, Jason Wishwell, and Josh Hiltz. And we'll see if Harrison was inside the crease area before that ball crosses the goal line.
This one's going to be close. This one I'm 7 for 7. I might go 7 for 8. Harrison shoots. Miller makes the save, and it trickles through to the short side. But then Harrison's foot touches, and I don't know if the ball is actually into the net and over the goal line by the time he steps. Oh, yeah, that's definitely going to be a good goal. I think I'm going to be 8 for 8, Johnny. It looks as though the ball is over the goal line. It hasn't hit the mesh as Harrison's stepping. I don't think there's any, what's the word I'm looking for? Any, undisputable evidence that would say, that's not a good goal.
Reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
He's well outside the line while the ball left the webbing of his stick. He's inside the crease area, but you can see the residual of the ball hitting the twine from behind. And according to my broadcast partner, who stands 7-0 on these challenges so far this year, it could be 8-0.
I think
we don't know what Scott Fleetwood is saying back at home, our statistician who is recovering from a procedure. But, Randy, we have the luxuries of so many replays up here. The public doesn't even get a chance to see it on the Jumbotron here in Buffalo.
It's like, is his foot down?
So you're making the initial call, and we'll wait for the crew chief to make his call going on here, and it stopped things here in the fourth quarter with 11:55 remaining.
This one, as you know, and again, hindsight, I'm watching again, they even slowing it down even a little bit more. And the officials are going to have a tough one with this, because is it over the line? From the angle that we have, you can't really see whether it's over the line or not. You see it in mid-flight going into the net. Oh, this is pressure time. I'm saying it's a goal. Bandit fans will be happy.
There's a goal.
There I am, Johnny.
I think you're happier because you're 8-0 now.
I'm 8-0, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have to remain bipartisan up here in the press box.
That's my ego a little bit. You know what I mean? I feel good. Great, anyway, regardless, great goal by Johnny Harrison. And again, that's what Darius talks about. You got to be proactive. You got to be able to react. You got to know what the situation is. That whistle blew, and Harrison was gone. And for his efforts, he's resulted for a 3-goal Buffalo Bandit lead and his first goal of the evening.
Yeah, that's good for the first of the year for John Harrison. So 2 players that did not play last night in Toronto finding net tonight, and John Harrison and Mike Hominick. And here's another shot that's straight on. And Brandon Miller coming up with a fine save and a long outlet pass all the way down in to the Bandit zone. And it's picked up and cleared along the end boards by Buffalo. Working down the left wing lane over to Mike Hominick, who brings it back out to midfield. Fourth quarter action, Buffalo with a 10-7 lead. In over the line is Mark Stainhouse. Works it from their near corner, scoots out now from the left point. Hangs on to that ball with plenty of time to shoot. Luke Wiles is out there with him, along with Chad Culp and John Tavares. Here is Wiles coming right in on Brandon Miller. We got the ball back right into the zone, and there's a shot straight on, and Anthony Cosmo is hit on a collision on a rushing Philadelphia wing.
Yeah, and the wing player's still down. Let's check who that is. We got the trainer coming out. I believe it is number 81, Kyle Hartzell. Miller makes the save. Hartzell was gone. They're trying to create some of that transition. And a great play of corralling the ball. It was kind of more of one of those up in the air and it bounced. He was able to get the ball, get a quick shot off. Paid the price, though, as Scott Self in the trail made sure he was down on the turf.
Shots 43-41 Buffalo. They've got the 10-7 lead and control of the ball. In over the line is Mark Stainhouse. Stainhouse far side pass over to Tavares. Tavares over to Luke Wiles. Wiles back to Tavares. Now over to Dane Smith. Here's Smith with the ball from the slot area. Leaving it down to Wiles. Far side pass over on the side to Sean Williams. Their give and go shot for Wiles is stopped by Miller. Rebound to the right side of the Philadelphia netminder. Give and go shot right at point blank range by Tavares over the crossbar. And the rebound is picked up by Philadelphia and cleared along the line. Over the line they go, setting the play up from Kevin Crowley. Crowley now tipping the ball back to the far side with 9 minutes and 58 seconds left. Shot saved by Cosmo. Rebound picked up to the near side and cleared back over to David Brock. And Brock comes down the left wing lane. Tips the ball over to Aaron Wilson, crossing the Philadelphia line. Back outside the line to Mike Hominick. Hominick taking the blocking of Matt Giles seriously. Tips the ball back over to Aaron Wilson. Here's Wilson, shot over the crossbar. Rebound picked up by Chad Culp. Shot clock was not reset. 2 left off. Culp with a shot that's blocked by Philadelphia defenders. And the ball cleared out by the wings to midfield. Johnny Meridian's crew changing up on the fly. Mad dash down to the far side as Philadelphia goes over to Kevin Ross. Here's Ross with a shot wide. Rebound picked up by Buffalo in the foot race now by Mark Stainhouse. Here's Stainhouse. Get over the line. Tips it back to the top to Thornburg with a shot that's blocked by a Philadelphia defender. And picked up by the wings. Good tandem there in Mark Stainhouse and Jay Thornburg.
That certainly was. Thornburg leading the break, gives it to Stainhouse a little bit faster, a little bit more upfield. He draws 2, gives the old flip over the head The Thornburg, unfortunately, shot gets blocked by Kyle Hartzell in pursuit. Great defensive play by Hartzell.
Big moves by Paul Rabel hanging onto that ball and trying to get it, feeding it out in front. He comes back with the rebound, tries an over-the-shoulder stuff from behind the net. And that's flicked down into the near Bandits corner, and the play stops with 8 minutes and 27 seconds left to play. Fourth quarter, the Bandits hanging on to a 3-goal lead, 10-7 over Philadelphia tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
All right, finish second tonight's Bandits. We have Erin. She's in section 123-100. She's looking for the Bandits to score a goal in the next 60 seconds of gameplay. So she's got to 7:27. If that happens, she's going to win 2 tickets to the next Bandits home game. You're going to help her out, Bandit Man, right? You're going to get Erin back here. Erin's a 2. Help Erin out, will you? All right. Tonight's Buffalo Sabres Foundation 50-50 raffle worth $7,500. Let's send it up to Larry Clayfair at 123. Larry?
John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. Fourth quarter action in downtown Buffalo at the First Niagara Center. Joe Hanault, our producer. Scott Fleetwood, our statistician at home, and keeping track of things with the Bandits holding on to the 10-7 lead. Must say, very impressed with Philadelphia in this second half of play.
Yeah, we actually also, John, an update. We have the mystery of the Philadelphia Wing jerseys solved. The Wings jerseys were misplaced in a luggage mix-up at the airport. So Jim Forsythe is wearing number 21, and wearing number 99 is defender transition player Patrick Heim.
All right. Make those notes here as Philadelphia controls the ball. There's a shot straight on, and a hard one by Ned Trotty. A big save by Anthony Cosmo.
Huge save. Huge save. As Ned Crotty finds himself all alone inside. And Cosmo able to get the stick and then the pad and cover the ball up as it was looking to trickle over the goal line, and then got some help by one of the Buffalo Bandit defenders.
Here come the Bandits with a shot just to the left side. Splitting save by Brandon Miller. He gets involved in the play along the end board, sweeps the ball from the far corner, and it's cleared back out to mid-turf. Wings in over the line. Covered by Kevin Buchanan, deking his way close to Anthony Cosmo. Forced into the near corner, back to the top of the slot to Rabel. Far side now, over to Westervelt. There's a give-and-go attempt to Rabel, but it's intercepted by Buffalo defender David Brock, and he'll get it back out to midfield to Mark Stainhouse. 7:07 left to play here in the fourth quarter. 10-7 Buffalo, as Stainhouse hangs onto the ball in the Philadelphia zone. Looking now as his players get in position. Stainhouse goes to the left side of Brandon Miller.
And I think that went off the head of Michael Manley. A lot of heat by Stainhouse. He goes high to high. It didn't reach Miller. It went right directly into the stands off of Manley's bucket.
Possession Buffalo, working it from the far side. Chad Culp is there from the right point to the near side now to Aaron Wilson. Over to Matt Giles. Give and go shot by Culp is stopped by Miller and picked up by the veteran netminder and cleared with an outlet pass down over to Brody Merrill. In over the line comes Merrill. Working it now, tipping, give and go set up by Philadelphia's Mike McClellan. Chopping away is Scott Self, and he'll get Buffalo out of his own zone and back out to midfield. Fourth quarter action, Buffalo with a 10-7 lead. A win tonight for the Bandits would tie and the Eastern Division first place with the Toronto Rock. Mike Hominick with the ball, checked along the end boards, picked up by Philadelphia, and Miller will outlet it just over the 8-second line there, and it's picked up by Sweeney, who comes into the Buffalo line. Give and go play. There's Kevin Crowley Working it back to Westerveld. He scores!
And the 6'5 righties get together and make something happen for the Wings. Crawley on a streaking. He elects not to shoot off of a pass by Sweeney and feeds it back up top to Drew Westerveld, and he goes a low to high riser that gets over the left shoulder of a sprawling Anthony Cosmo. 5:50 left, and the Wings are back within 2, Johnny. This game is not over.
Not by any way. Shape of the imagination with Buffalo with 47-44 in shots. Buffalo with the ball down into the Philadelphia zone. Wings outscoring the Bandits 5-3 in the third quarter of play, and starting to add some more here in the fourth quarter. Down by 2, 10-8. Into the line is Brody Merrill. Tips it to the far side. Deking in front is Paul Rabel with those moves. Rabel over to Ross with a shot. Mask saved by Cosmo.
Rabel so fast he draws attention. He gives a little split dodge, comes over top. Two guys got to show. Somebody's got to help inside, leaving Ross all alone. He throws a high heater. Cosmo ready for it, seen it all the way.
5 minutes left to play in the regulation. Philadelphia with the ball. 10-8 Buffalo, but here come the Wings. Drew Westerveld with the ball back over to Brody Merrill. As the Wings front door changes up quickly. Westerveld is there, working it now to the right side of Cosmo. From the slot area, far side over to Paul Rabel. Rabel with a shot, he scores!
And that's the hat trick for number 9. He utilizes the screen. There's a two-person screen. He's down in the corner on the right side. He just rolls up over top. And he's 6'3" in his own right. He gets his stick up nice and high and just shoots over the screen before South can get there. And it goes between the pads of Anthony Cosmo as we get a good look coming over top. And that ball had some steam on it, Johnny, and the Wings are back within 1.
All of a sudden, there's a little hush over the air here in the First Niagara Center. They try to stoke things up with 4:39 remaining in regulation. Bandits by 1, 10-9. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Bandits Lacrosse.
All right, Bandit Man, take a look at the HD video board for tonight's save of the game presented by H&R Block Freight Easy. What could be better? Here comes on the HD video board. You're gonna love it. It's Nas. Oh, look at this. Stone. Fans, you're holding 50-50 ticket number 037-02184. Congratulations, you just won a free large pizza courtesy of your locally owned and operated Pizza Hut restaurants. Head down to account services to claim your prize. Time out for the Bandits Brigade winning raffle number. The winning number is 893883. It's a blue ticket, 893883. For holding the winning ticket, congratulations, and head down to account services to claim your prize. All right, time to make the right decision. It's time for the Aruba collision of the game.
This copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. Well, here's the game with 4 minutes and 39 seconds remaining. Bandits leading by 1, but a streaking Philadelphia on a roll. Back to action down on the turf with Matt Giles tipping it over to the far side over for the Bandits to try to get something there. Luke Wiles from the left point works it across the line. Management now of the amount of time as Dane Smith dekes his way close to Brandon Miller, takes the shot. Miller with a nice save. Rebound, Buffalo. I guess Miller did not get the save because they did not reset the shot clock.
Yeah, Buffalo's kind of wondering what's going on. Philadelphia's looking to try to transition. The shot clock went. The Buffalo Bandit bench is going crazy. The coaching staff, Dan Teat, Darius Kilgore, they're not happy. I thought that got to the net. And Buffalo got the rebound with Luke Wiles, but the referees say no, that didn't get through. Buffalo's going to have to regain composure. It's a bad call. But they got to make the next play. Philadelphia has the ball.
Kevin Ross with the ball, taking the shot. Cosmo the save. He's got it in the webbing of his stick. And will make the outlet pass over to David Brock. And Brock brings the Bandits with 3:43 in regulation, leading by 1. Back outside the line is Mike Hominick. Deep into the corner for Sean Williams. Williams working the ball. Back over to John Tavares. Here's Tavares now from the slot area. Near side over to Aaron Wilson. Wilson working the ball outside the line. Back over to Sean Williams. Now to Hominick, to Giles with a shot that goes wide. Buffalo gets the rebound, but no time left on the shot clock, so Philadelphia mounts the attack down in their own zone.
Yeah,
Very strange call moments ago where a shot was clearly saved by Brandon Miller, but they did not reset the shot clock. Cosmo comes up with a key save. Let's see if he can do it again here. Jordan Hall getting close to the Buffalo net, hanging on to the ball, works it back over to the side. And now it's being forced onto the play. Setting it into the corner to Crowley. Now tipping it over to the far side for Philadelphia. There's a low drive save by Cosmo with 2:49 left in regulation. Pressure on by Philadelphia. And the loose ball picked up by Scott Self, and he'll bring Buffalo back out to mid-turf.
Yeah, this is coming down, Johnny. It's a 4-possession game right now. Can Buffalo's defense hold the Philadelphia Wings? Better yet, can the offense of the Bandits get something to the net? You look for the Philadelphia Wings as it gets a little bit later, looking to potentially pull Brandon Miller if they can't score in the next 2 possessions, 5-on-5.
Lost that possession, and Philadelphia's got the ball. Brody Merrill tips it over to the far side, over to Paul Rabel. Rabel dekes his way in close from the slot area, tips it over to Kevin Buchanan, who dekes in, and here's a shot in front. And a penalty coming up.
Yeah, Kevin Buchanan, so quick as a cat, he breaks down and gets up over top of David Brock and started going towards the cage, and Brock had no choice but to give him a little tuggeroo on the back of the jersey. The referee right there. He's going to serve 2 minutes for a hold, 2:09 left. The Philadelphia Wings have 3 power play markers on the evening. Could they make it 4 and tie this game up?
Working the ball down into the Bandit zone is Kevin Buchanan. Top of the slot is Jordan Hall. Far side now is Hall over the side to Buchanan. Back to Hall. Hall over to Westervelt. Back to Jordan Hall. From the corner is Rabel to Hall. Tipping it now back to Hall. Feathering it down to the near side. Front shot picked up by Buffalo's defense. Billy D. Smith, and Smith being hampered but powers his way with a nice move over to Mark Stainhouse. And here comes Buffalo. What a great effort by Billy D. Smith. Triple teamed on the play. Lost control of the ball, but managed to slap it over to Mark Stainhouse. And Stainhouse will watch that shot clock now with 10 to shoot to the near side in the Philadelphia zone. There's Stainhouse with a shot, splitting save by Miller. He'll trickle it out to his defenseman with 1:15 remaining. Here is a surge by Philadelphia.
Here we go, Johnny.
Miller remains between the pipes as Philadelphia stages the play down in the Bandit zone. There's a shot straight on. Cosmo with a nice save. And we'll get it back out with an outlet pass over to Jimmy Purvis, and Purvis brings the Bandits outside the Philadelphia line. Under a minute to play, the fans on their feet. Buffalo by 1, 10-9. As Purvis hangs onto that ball. Goes to the far side over to Luke Wiles. Wiles dashes in. Comes across the line. Still hangs on to the ball. Dashes behind the net with 7 to shoot. Here's Wiles taking a beating from the near boards, but hangs on to it, loses his stick and the ball, and Philadelphia with a mad rush with 29 seconds left. Here come the Wings. Working with the man advantage now. Top of the slot as it goes to Jordan Hall. Far side to Westervelt. Working it back over to Hall from the quarterback of the power play position. Here's Buchanan with a shot that's blocked off a defender stick of Scott Self. 10 seconds left. Buchanan back to the top of the slot to Hall. Now to Hall as they score.
And quick ball movement. The perseverance of the Philadelphia Wings as David Brock left the penalty box. Almost gets to Jordan Hall, who's at the top of the slot. And Jordan Hall just goes Sidearm to low to the side of Anthony Cosmo, and this game is tied up. Buffalo feeling it. The Bandit fans feeling it, waiting for it to happen. But Jordan Hall makes the Bandits play. Not a power play marker, but just close enough to a power play marker. We're potentially all knotted up here at 10, Johnny.
As usual, the goal is being reviewed under the 2-minute mark on the marker being scored, no pun intended, by Philadelphia to tie it up at 10. Storm surge by Philadelphia in the second half, where they came on strong on a 3-goal run in the third quarter to play to outscore the Bandits 5-3, and doing a job here in the fourth quarter as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a good goal. Nobody's even near the crease. 3.7 seconds left. It's going to be tied up. Philadelphia Wings outscoring the Buffalo Bandits 3-1 in the fourth quarter, and your best players got to be your best players. Philadelphia getting markers from Jordan Hall, Paul Rabel, and Drew Westervelt in the fourth quarter to knot this game up at 10.
A 3-goal run in the third and a 3-goal run in the fourth, and we are set for the overtime session coming up. 51-48 in shots favoring the Wings. Buffalo opened the scoring of tonight's game with Sean Williams jumping out to a 6-2 lead at one time, a 7-2 lead in the third quarter, and then Philadelphia went to work with their run, and they're right back into this game. 10-10 as we head to overtime. Shots on goal to regulation, 52-48 favoring the Wings. And just looking at scoring before we begin the 15-minute sudden death overtime period in the fourth quarter, Buffalo getting on the scoreboard at 3:04 with John Harrison to give the Bandits a 10-7 lead. Philadelphia with a 3-goal run. 14:56 the official time of Jordan Hall's goal from Paul Rabel. So during regulation, Kevin Crowley with a goal and 3 assists. Rabel with 3 goals and an assist. And for Buffalo's side, Luke Wilds with 3 goals and an assist. Aaron Wilson with 2 goals and an assist. Sean Williams with 2 goals and 4 assists. Good goaltending tonight for Brandon Miller, making 38 saves on 48 shots, and Anthony Cosmo 42 saves on 52 Philadelphia shots. Is there a particular end that you get in overtime, or do you switch into the coordination of quarters, or do you take a flip of the quarter, or does it matter?
I think Scotty Self is over here asking the referees that question. Buffalo will defend their bench end, as will Philadelphia. That kind of makes sense. Just as they started the game, so that switcheroo does happen. And it is a sudden death, sudden victory scenario. First goal ends the game. This is where the face-off works out. Buffalo in this advantage. Jay Thornburg's done a phenomenal job at the face-off X. There's a pretty good potential they'll get the ball first.
Here we go for overtime lacrosse. 10-10 the score with the Buffalo Bandits and Philadelphia Wings. When we open this broadcast, a classic Friday night clash. Jay Thornburg, 61% success rate in the regulation time, and an ever so important draw coming up to open the overtime period tonight from the First Niagara Center in downtown Buffalo. Bandits will be moving right to left, and Thornburg comes up with the ball. He's got the possession inside the zone and then elects to get it back outside the line. And at the face-off circle at center to Mark Stainhouse. Here comes Stainhouse, tipping the ball to the far corner as it's picked up by Luke Wales with a shot, and Miller comes up with a big save.
Cool hand Luke had a great spin dodge, got underneath his defender. I don't know if it was the best shot that you wanted to get in OT as the first one, but it was a shot nonetheless of pretty decent quality. Miller, sharp.
Back to action with Philadelphia with the ball down into the Buffalo zone, streaking in front. Shot saved by Cosmo. Rebound is picked up by Jimmy Purvis. And here comes a possession run for the Bandits as Purvis brings the Bandits back out to midfield. Jimmy Purvis down the right wing lane. Paul Rabel in pursuit. Chopping away at the ball. A loose ball picked up by Philadelphia. The mid dash by the Wings as they stage the play back down into the Buffalo zone. Not quite sure why Buffalo did not connect on the transition there to get the ball closer into the Philadelphia zone, but here comes Philadelphia back down into the Bandit zone, led by Paul Rabel, deking in close of Anthony Cosmo. Rabel now with a shot. That flickers wide. Picked up by Derek Suddens. He'll get a nice pass down the left wing lane to John Harrison. And a breakaway now for Stainhouse, and he just shoots it wide.
Oh,
he hard from behind.
Certainly was, John. By Brody Merrill coming out the back door. But Buffalo regains possession of the loose ball.
Shot wide, the shot clock not reset. Here's Stainhouse with the shot, and Miller comes up with a save. Here come the Wings now in overtime. Score tied at 10. And Philadelphia making the change immediately out at midfield. In over the line, Drew Westervelt from the far side. Uses the turf to go outside. From the top of the slot over to Kevin Ross. Ross dashing in from the right point. In pursuit is Billy D. Smith. There's Kevin Buchanan from the slot. Near side is Westervelt. Here's his shot. He scores. It's over. Philadelphia comes back and defeats the Buffalo Bandits by a final score of 11-10 in overtime.
Wow, and this Buffalo Bandit crowd is just in shock as Drew Westervelt does the old juke, 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 gets over top, but instead of coming all the way over top, he shoots through the screen on a sidearm and slips to the left pad past Anthony Cosmo.
Oh, a tough one to take for the Buffalo Bandits tonight here with a 11-10 final in overtime, and the big player Drew Westervelt with the game-winning goal.
And there's Kilgore over to the referee's box as they're reviewing that last goal. He's not happy. I'm not too sure what was said down there.
Clearly the mistake that was made by the on-field officials of not resetting the shot clock after the initial save, and giving them a little bit more of momentum coming down for Philadelphia to score. But in any event, Philadelphia plays a well of a second half, outscoring the Bandits, and eventually with the game winner, Drew Westervelt with the game winner tonight here in Buffalo. And the Wings stay alive on this wild race of the Eastern Division. We'll be back with the post-game show after this timeout on Bandits Lacrosse.
The intention player of the game is brought to you by Intense Milk, sponsored by the Buffalo Bandits. Pick your favorite flavor of Intense Milk today.
Buffalo Bandits losing it in overtime, 11-10. Drew Westervelt with the game winner. And that's all she wrote here at First Niagara Center. The Philadelphia Wings come on strong in the second half of play, outscoring Buffalo 8-4 in regulation in order to tie it up at 10. And that game-tying goal was scored at the 14:56 mark. Jordan Hall tying it up, and then Drew Westervelt finding net for the Philadelphia Wings, and it gives the Wings an opportunity to stay alive. They start 5-3. Buffalo is 5-3, so they're locked up in his second place. And check that, Buffalo 5-4.
Yep.
Setting the stage for next week against the Colorado Mammoth that come to town on Saturday night.
Well, I tell you, the Bandit fans, I'm sure that even the players themselves, just a heartbreak loss. I mean, it looked like as though Buffalo controlled the entire game. They were getting good shots, great goaltending. We're getting second chance opportunities. But, you know, you play those back-to-backers, and it's not that it's an excuse, but in that fourth quarter, it seemed like Philadelphia had a little bit more jump. Buffalo had some opportunities. Maybe some calls kind of went against them in terms of some of the shot resets. Yep. I think Coach Kilgore was kind of wondering how come we didn't get a reset there. But nonetheless, when you keep on playing the game, you know, they take that penalty late.
Philadelphia goes up on the power play. They got potent offensive players. They're able to get something to the net. Jordan Hall ties it up with 4 seconds left. And in OT, anything can happen. And Drew Westervelt was the hero for the Philadelphia Wings tonight on a nice individual effort, coming up over a screen, just going side to side, and actually shot through the screen. I don't think Cosmo's seen it, and the ball was in the back of the net.
So Philadelphia wins the regular season series, the tiebreaker, and something that Buffalo will have to take a look at from there, and also taking the advantage of their record during the regular season, now 5-3, and Buffalo drops to 5-4. The next start for the Bandits will be a week from tonight here at First Niagara, or no, a week from Saturday night. I thought this would be Saturday night. It'll be Saturday night, March 9th, against the Colorado Mammoth coming to town. It'll be a part of a home-and-home series because the next weekend we'll go back to Denver to see the Mammoth. But game tonight where the Bandits held a commanding lead, 7-2 at one time, only to see the Wings come back to score 3 in the third back-to-back, 3 in the fourth back-to-back, and win it tonight in overtime. Drew Westerveld with the game winner, 11-10. That's going to do it for our pregame show here this evening. Hopefully the Bandits will rebound on Saturday night of next week against the Colorado Mammoth. Joe Hanault, our producer. Scott Fleetwood, our statistician for Randy Mearns. This is John Gertler. Good night from Buffalo.